Chapter 74-33. After the cultivators in the superior rooms left the flying magic tool, Bailey Hongzhuang and the rest also walked down. Gong Jun's sharp eyes noticed Qing Jie, and he immediately walked over with a face full of smiles. Young Master Qing will be done with this matter very soon and then we'll report in. Qing Jie looked at Gong Jun with satisfaction. Although this kid's strength was not much, he was quite smart and knew how to talk. Call me Young Master Jie. Qing Jie said. Yes, Young Master Jie. You guys go ahead. I will inform them when I get back. Just say my name and someone will make the arrangements. Thank you, Young Master Jie. After Qing Jie and the rest left, Bailey Hongzhuang and the rest walked to a secluded corner and changed their appearances to those guys who died in their hands. The moment they stepped into the immortal domain, they had already changed their appearances. Bailey Hongzhuang and Ling Er's appearances were outstanding, and they might get into some trouble in the Green Puff continent. Their strength was already worrying, and if there were other twists and turns they might really be wiped out at any time. However, it was also fortunate that they did so. Otherwise, Gong Jun's move would not have been of any use. Wang Chongyun, where are we going to report the news? Bailey Hongzhuang asked. Along the way we can be considered half a friend. As long as you can help us with this matter, I will give you the antidote and treat it as if nothing happened. If you play tricks on this matter, even if we are all wiped out, you will definitely not be able to get away with it. Wang Chongyun looked at everyone's expression and nodded slightly. I understand what you mean. Since things have come to this, I have no other thoughts. He could already tell that these guys were extremely daring. If he did not guess wrongly, these people must be planning to go to the Qing family and cause a ruckus. He had nothing to do with the Qing family. He just took on this mission and it was not worth it to cause so much trouble. Can you guarantee that you won't kill me after this matter is over? We will do what we promised. Di Beichen said, telling them the truth won't do you any good. I don't think you'll take the unnecessary risk. Wang Chongyun narrowed his eyes. Over the last few days he had thought about this many times. As long as the other party gave him the antidote, he naturally would not do anything unnecessary. The Qing clan was not a kind clan to begin with. If this matter were to spread out, Di Beichen and the others would have already run away. On the contrary, it was very likely that he would be the one in trouble. Alright, I'll believe you this time. Gong Jun chuckled. Brother Wang, there's no need to be nervous. It's just a small matter, something that can be solved with just a few words. I'll take you to Qing Xiang. He'll give us the reward. Wang Chongyun looked at Di Beichen. Yang Xiao is the one in charge of accepting the mission this time. You and Qing Xiang will be the ones to negotiate. In fact, the Qing family did not take this matter to heart. When they accepted the mission it was very simple. I don't think they will ask too many questions. Everyone nodded slightly. It was undoubtedly a simple matter for the people of the Immortal Domain to deal with the City Lord of the Chaotic Immortal Domain. No one thought that there would be any accidents in this matter. Naturally, they would treat it as if it was done casually. Wang Chongyun explained everything he knew in detail. After grasping everything, he went to look for Qing Xiang. Only then did they know that the Qing family was indeed a very powerful force in Luoxian City. Just this entrance alone had 4 entrances, north, south, east and west. This place was mainly responsible for trivial matters. Chapter 74-34. The core area of the Qing clan was naturally the central area. However, not everyone could enter and leave as they pleased. Only the core members could enter and leave this area. Previously, Qing Jie was in the east while Qing Xiang was in the south. There was a certain distance between the two places. It seemed like they were not very close to each other. This made everyone feel more at ease. Although they had changed their appearance and aura, they still had to be careful of the possibility of being exposed. It was inevitable that someone would notice them if they appeared in the same place. It was better for them to not appear in the same place. We are here to look for Qing Xiang. At the southern gate of the Qing clan, Di Beichen looked at the guard and said the purpose of their visit. He took out a waste token. After the guard saw it, he understood. Please wait for a moment. Soon the man opened the gate and led them inside. Along the way, everyone was observing the situation of the Qing clan. It was indeed a big clan. They were quite capable. Bailey Hongzhuang understood. The reason why Qing Ling left the Qing clan and disappeared for so many years was probably to hide from the deputy pavilion master. If he stayed in the Qing clan, the deputy pavilion master might not kill Qing Ling. However, the Qing clan's foundation would be destroyed. Only when Qing Ling left and allowed the Qing clan to develop freely, the Qing clan would have room to survive. Qing Ling seemed to have planned everything out for Lin Fan. Now that the Qing clan's foundation was under Qing Devil's charge, Xiao Sou should be in the middle of the Qing clan. You are here. A man walked over slowly. Without saying anything, he led everyone into the house. This mission was quite embarrassing. If it were not for Xiao Sou's strong request, the Qing clan would not have done such a thing. If this matter were to spread, the entire Qing clan would be humiliated. After the door was closed, the man said, "It's done. It's done. Have you dealt with those people?" Di Beichen said casually, "It's just a city lord mansion in the chaotic immortal realm. It's not that powerful. I took care of it easily." Qing Xiang nodded slightly. "Well done. This is also a lucrative job for you. You just have to spend some time on the road. It doesn't take much effort at all. This is your reward this time." Qing Xiang took out a storage bag and handed it to Di Beichen. "Regarding this matter, the few of you better keep your mouths shut. Don't reveal even the slightest bit of information. If the news gets out, all of you will be finished." "Don't worry, Brother Xiang. We won't say a word," said Di Beichen. Only then did Qing Xiang withdraw his gaze, but he unconsciously glanced at the Chengkuan bag again. This matter was indeed a fat job, and it did not take much effort at all. The reward was also quite good. If it wasn't for the fact that it wasn't suitable for him to step in, he would have done it himself. Di Beichen immediately took out some blood spirit stones from the Chengkuan bag and handed them to Qing Xiang. "Brother Xiang, this is to show filial piety to you." Qing Xiang's eyes lit up, but he raised his eyebrows. "Show filial piety to me? This is such a good job. If Brother Xiang didn't think of us, how could we be so relaxed? Don't worry, we won't say a word about this matter. We will rot in our stomachs." A satisfied smile appeared on Qing Xiang's face. "You're smart. I'll accept it then. Brother Xiang, will take our leave first. Go." Chapter 74-35. After leaving the Qing residence, everyone heaved a sigh of relief. Although they thought that things would go smoothly, they couldn't help but worry that something might go wrong. Fortunately, nothing went wrong and everyone could finally relax. "This is the antidote." Bailey Hongzhuang handed the antidote to Wang Chongyun. "We won't go back on our word." Wang Chongyun was still in disbelief as he stared at the antidote. In truth, he had already thought about it. If his foe really wanted to kill him now, then in front of so many people, he would drag them down with him no matter what. "We'll keep the rewards for the others. This is yours." Di Beichen also handed the cultivation resources to Wang Chongyun. "We've known each other for a long time. I hope you won't cause any more trouble." Happiness came too suddenly. Wang Chongyun was a little dumbfounded. He didn't expect these people to be so nice. Not only did they give him the antidote, they even gave him the cultivation resources this time. "We also know that your situation in the Wang clan isn't too good. If not, we wouldn't have specially made a trip to the realm of chaotic immortals just to earn some cultivation resources. We still have other things to do. Take care. Take care." Wang Chongyun watched the departing figures with complicated emotions. Everyone who had gone this time had already died, and he was the only one still alive. Moreover, he had even obtained the reward. He had probably used up all the luck he had in his life on this. "Hongzhuang, is the antidote you gave him real?" Yang Lingfeng couldn't help but ask. "It's real," Bailey Hongzhuang replied. "Although I don't think the Qing clan will investigate this matter in the future, it's inevitable that everyone who went this time has disappeared. It's inevitable that they will feel a little strange. At least one person is still alive, so they will feel more at ease. Aren't you worried that he'll tell the truth later?" "I don't think he's an idiot. He knows what to do in this situation. Besides, we're not leaving this place immediately. I've already sent Xiao Bai to keep an eye on him. As long as there's no abnormality, we can feel at ease," Di Beichen said. Yang Lingfeng heaved a sigh of relief. "That's good. Then, are we going to report to the Qing clan now?" Zhong Limu asked with interest. Gong Jun nodded. "Of course. It wasn't easy for me to take on this task. I can't miss it just like that. Otherwise, wouldn't my previous flattery be in vain? What are your plans?" Mo Yunjua asked. "We'll talk about it when we get there. Let's understand the situation first and find out some useful information at the same time. If we can earn some blood spirit stones in the future, that would be even better. In any case, before we leave, we might as well blow this matter up as much as we can. Even if we can't take revenge now, we have to make the Qing clan a laughingstock for a while." Gong Jun narrowed his eyes and smiled slightly, revealing the nature of a profiteer. He had always been the one scheming against others. Last time, everyone had suffered such serious injuries. It was a pity that he was not present. Since he had come this time, he would not let these despicable fellows off so easily. Then it's decided. Bailey Hongzhuang's lips curled up slightly. She was also very much in favor of this decision. Their strength was indeed at the bottom, but there were many cultivators like the Qing clan. Presumably after they entered they would not attract too much attention. They might even have a chance to do something. After asking around, they successfully arrived at their destination. Chapter 74-36. Who are you people? We were recruited by young Master Jie. Gong Jun's face was full of smiles. Did young Master Jie mention this before? Young Master Jie? The guard was startled, then immediately recalled, I know young Master Jie did mention this when he came back. I didn't expect it to be you guys. Fatty, you guys have just broken through to the elementary immortal stage not long ago, right? To be able to come to our Qing family, you guys are quite capable. You flatter me. I was just lucky. How could I be capable? Young Master Qing only took pity on us, so he took us in out of compassion. How could we compare to you, brother? You're the one who's truly capable. The guard was originally unhappy with Gong Jun. This guy did not have much strength, but he could make young Master Qing look at him differently. Now that he heard this, the unhappiness in his heart instantly disappeared. You guys go in and find the manager. Young Master Jie has already given instructions, he'll arrange good jobs for you. Thank you very much. After we settle down, I'll definitely treat you to a drink. When the time comes, I hope you'll give me some face. No problem. After walking into the residence, Gong Jun's face instantly fell. This damn guy, he actually dared to look down on him. Sooner or later he would let this guy know what kind of person Lord Gong was. I suddenly understand why Gong Jun was able to progress so smoothly even though he had no intention of cultivating. Bai Lian Che suddenly realized. This guy is only in the business world. If he were in the government, who could compare to him? Just based on his ability to lie through his teeth and bootlick, ordinary people could not compare to him at all. If we want to open a path in this immortal region, I'm afraid we'll have to rely on Gong Jun's mouth. Bailey Hongzhuang chuckled. In the past, Fang Che had always been very good at gathering information with his face. Now that he had Gong Jun, he was even better than him in this aspect. You guys, are you newcomers? Suddenly, a loud voice rang out in front of them. They saw a man arranging for the others. After noticing them, a strange expression appeared on his face. You must be the steward, right? Gong Jun walked over with a smile. The steward looked at Gong Jun suspiciously. I'm the steward. Who are you? Just by looking at your imposing manner, I knew that you must be a steward. How could anyone else have such an imposing manner? Gong Jun smiled. We were recruited by young Master Jie. The steward understood. So it's you guys. Young Master Qing has already informed us. I see that the few of you are quite clever. It just so happens that a few of the guards have gone out to handle some matters, so the few of you can take their places. There will be someone to explain to you about your shifts. There is also a special place to collect your cultivation resources every month. You just need to bring your own waste token. As for you two women, you will be in charge of the kitchen for the time being. The kitchen will not be busy every day. It's just that there will be banquets or special occasions where demonic beast meat needs to be cooked. At that time, someone will inform you in advance. You can do whatever you want on normal days. After hearing the steward's arrangements, the surrounding people looked at Bailey Hongzhuang and the others enviously. These tasks were already considered very good. Generally speaking, the people who were just recruited were in charge of the worst jobs. This kind of task was not theirs at all. Chapter 74-37. Under the arrangement of the steward, Bailey Hongzhuang and Linger lived in the women's area, while the others lived in the men's area. Originally, the distance between them was quite far. However, after Gong Jun fawned on them and gave them gifts, their accommodations were arranged closer. The environment was quiet and there were not many people around. Qing Jie also came over after knowing that Gong Jun and the others had arrived. Being a bodyguard is a good job. Do it well. As long as you do it well, you will definitely be successful in the future. Thank you, young Master Jie, for your promotion. Gong Jun was full of smiles. Don't worry. We will follow your orders in the future. If you ask us to go east, we will never go west. What are you talking about? Qing Jie's expression became serious. Since we have come to the Qing family, we naturally have to listen to Lord Qing Devil. Gong Jun was originally a shrewd person. When he saw Qing Jie say these words, although there was a hint of reprimand, there was clearly not the slightest bit of dissatisfaction in his eyes. On the contrary, he was very happy. It was only because of the surface that he reprimanded. Yes. Gong Jun nodded repeatedly. Of course we have to listen to Lord Qing Devil. However, how can small people like us have the opportunity to meet Lord Qing Devil? Being able to serve young Master Jia is already a blessing for us. Qing Jia's lips curled into a smile. He patted Gong Jun's shoulder, and the satisfaction in his eyes was obvious. I have faith in you. If you need anything in the future, come to me. Thank you, young master. Qing Jia talked for a while before leaving. Bailey Hongzhuang and the others finally understood that Qing Jia wanted to hear flattery. That was why he stayed here for so long. Gong Jun, I really admire your eloquence. I feel that if you go on like this, Qing Jia will directly accept you as his confidant. Bai Li Yanche sighed. His strength was not a bluff. In his opinion, there were many people here who wanted to curry favor with Qing Jia, but none of them had the ability to do so. Gong Jun blinked his eyes complacently. Isn't this better? Seeing that Qing Jia thinks highly of me, these guys will not make things difficult for us. It will be more convenient for us to do things. That's true. Let's not be in a hurry for the time being. Let's spend a few days to learn more about the situation here and get some information about Qing Devil. After confirming that Wang Chongyun has no other actions, we will find an opportunity. Di said slowly. Understood. There were too many things that they did not know about in this unfamiliar place. They could not ignore the Qing clan just because of Qing Devil. As one of the major forces in Liuxin City, the Qing clan did not fall into a disadvantageous position during the years when Qing Devil and Qing Ling were not around. It was clear that everything here was very orderly and carried out step by step. If they acted rashly without understanding anything, they would be the ones in danger. Bailey Hongzhuang and Linger were also called to familiarize themselves with the kitchen. Usually they would not cook much so everyone could do their own things in peace. However, once things got busy they would be very busy. Previously, the two people in the kitchen had broken through and went to do other work. The two of them took over the vacancy. Originally, the other party did not believe in Bailey Hongzhuang and Linger. However, after seeing the two's cooking skills, they were immediately satisfied. As long as they knew how to cook, there would be no problem. Moreover, the two of them were very good at cooking. Chapter 74-38. Inside the house. Thanks to Gong Jun, things went pretty smoothly for us today. Bailey Hongzhuang chuckled as she looked at the cultivation resources they had just received. They were quite abundant. Although they were new cultivators and were given the most basic treatment, they were still given dozens of blood spirit stones. These were high-grade blood spirit stones, not the low-grade and middle-grade blood spirit stones from the chaotic immortal domain. With these blood spirit stones and the rich origin energy here, their cultivation speed would definitely be much faster. At least there are dozens of blood spirit stones. That's not bad. Ling revealed a satisfied expression. It's just that Qing Jia lives quite far from us. If Gong Jun wants to make a move on him, I'm afraid it will be somewhat difficult. I don't think Gong Jun's target is him. Huh? Linger was stunned. Didn't Gong Jun come here because this guy made us lose dozens of blood spirit stones? Gong Jun is a person who doesn't wake up early if there's no profit. Qing Jia has some status here, so his wallet is naturally richer than the others. However, where do you think is the richest place here? Where? The central area? Bailey Hongzhuang shook her head. We can't enter the central area. We can't go in openly and we can't go in secretly with our strength. Therefore, the richest place in the east is the resource vault. Ling was stunned for a moment before her eyes widened. You mean you want to rob the resource vault? Today she looked very carefully. The resources in the warehouse were very rich. Originally they were poor, but as long as they could get their hands on these things, they would become rich in an instant. The most important resources of the Qing family were in the central area. However, as a branch they had a lot of resources too. Is there a point in robbing other places? Bailey Hongzhuang raised her eyebrows slightly, and the smile on her lips revealed a hint of playfulness. Since we're already here we have to do something big. Otherwise it wouldn't be worthwhile. She thought it over and over again. Since she was already here, she had to leave an unforgettable memory for Qing Devil and Xiao Sou. When the time came, just thinking about the other party's reaction made her feel very amused. Ling looked at Bailey Hongzhuang in disbelief and said, Hongzhuang, you've become bad. When Beichen was talking to Qing Xiang earlier, I realized that Beichen had become more cunning. He is so good at deceiving people. I didn't expect that even you have changed. This is called, one is marked by the company one keeps. Bailey Hongzhuang chuckled. She felt that this change was quite good. They were the most insignificant group of people in the immortal region. If they were not clever and cunning enough, it was very likely that they would suffer a great loss. Opportunism was not a bad thing at this time. For 3 consecutive days, because there was nothing to do, Bailey Hongzhuang simply cultivated in the room. Through tempering, she could clearly feel that she had improved. Even if it was not easy to temper a complete arm, this feeling that she was getting stronger every day was really good. They were originally in the kitchen. If there was no need, it was not suitable for them to move around casually. However, Di Beichen and the others were much more convenient. As guards, they needed to patrol other places. It just so happened that it was their turn for the first shift. In addition, Gong Jun and Yen Che were very good at closing the gap between them. With just a few words, they had already reached a consensus with everyone. They also learned a lot of information about the Qing family. So you're here for Qing Devil. No wonder. Chapter 7439. Lord Azure Demon is indeed a very capable person. In the years that he disappeared, the Qing clan had indeed become slightly weaker. However, now that Lord Azure Demon is back, the situation will definitely improve. Just wait and see. Once Master wakes up, no one will dare to offend our Qing family in Liuxin City. The vice captain of the guards had a smile on his face, and there was a look of worship on his face. You are new here. I heard that young Master Jie thinks highly of you. I believe you will have a bright future. Master Qing Devil is in a coma? Di Beichen pretended to be puzzled and asked. The vice captain nodded slightly. This matter is actually not a secret. The whole Qing family already knows about it. But this news can't be spread out. What exactly is going on? We don't know the details, but we heard from the doctor that Master Qing Devil had some problems when he tried to take over the body. As a result, his recovery speed was very slow. But this time, as long as he wakes up, these problems will disappear. This means that Master will soon regain his original reputation. The rise of our Qing family is just around the corner. I heard that Master Qing Devil went out this time to solve this problem. He must have gone to some place to gain experience. Without destruction there can be no construction. Because of this he was seriously injured. As expected of Master Qing Devil. He is so cruel to himself that he can achieve so much. Gong Jun rolled his eyes. The Qing Devil was obviously beaten up by his own boss. He fled in a hurry because he was seriously injured. He was obviously a stray dog, but he still thought of himself as a hero. This guy was really shameless. Even Gong Jun felt embarrassed to make up such a lie. Looking at this group of idolizing fools in front of him, the corners of his mouth twitched slightly. If these guys knew the truth, what kind of expression would they have? That would be really interesting. Fatty, what's with your expression? The vice captain asked in confusion. Gong Jun quickly adjusted his facial expression and said, I really hope that Master Qing Devil can wake up soon. I have always admired him. That's why I traveled thousands of miles to Liuxin City. Seeing Gong Jun's face full of reverence, everyone's faces also revealed smiles. Don't worry. It's just a matter of time. In addition, Di Beichen and the others inquired about some other news in a roundabout way. For example, Xiao Sou's current situation and how long Qing Ling had been away. They wanted to know more about the enemies of the Qing family. As the saying goes, the enemy of one's enemy is one's friend. He heard that there were quite a few people in the immortal realms who didn't get along well with the Azure Demon. When he returned, he was targeted by quite a few people. If he could figure out who these people were, it might not necessarily be useless in the future. However, no one was in a hurry to figure out the situation in one day. They just pretended to be puzzled and asked some questions. Everyone just thought that they were new here and were full of curiosity about everything. They were not on guard and explained the situation one by one. 7 days later, everyone gathered together. We have learned some things. The Qing Devil is still in a coma. Xiao Sou has been guarding him. However, she hasn't gained the trust of the other members of the Qing family. Because of the Qing Devil's previous attitude, everyone knows that the child is the Qing Devil's child. As for whether to accept this woman, everyone is still a little hesitant. Everything will be decided after the Qing Devil wakes up. Chapter 7440. We were right. It was Xiao Sou's decision to send someone to deal with Castellan Bai, Di Beichen said. Qing Devil was still in a coma, so he couldn't have made this decision. Therefore Xiao Sou was the only possibility. Xiao Sou. Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes narrowed and a cold light flashed in her eyes. This woman had used all kinds of dirty tricks to deal with them. Qing Devil's henchmen tolerated Xiao Sou because of the baby, but they didn't admit that she was the mistress of the Immortal Palace. It's said that Qing Devil has several women who are very favored by him. They are also dissatisfied with Xiao Sou's appearance. I think it's not easy for Xiao Sou to stay in the mistress's position, Bai Lianche said. Bailey Hongzhuang and Linger didn't find it strange. Qing Devil was still interested in Xiao Sou under such circumstances. It was obvious that he was not a man who could stand loneliness. Come to think of it, he and Qing Ling were the same kind of people. They would always have a lot of women around them. Xiao Sou always thought that she could live a peaceful life after finding Qing Devil. In fact, it was just a dream. If it weren't for the baby, Qing Devil and his henchmen wouldn't care about Xiao Sou at all. However, with her cultivation level, I'm afraid it's not easy for her to fight with the women here. After Qing Devil wakes up, the problem of possession will be solved. By then his strength will improve a lot. It won't be as easy for us to deal with him, Mo Yunjue said. It's okay. The immortal realm is very big. Let's go to other continents first. Qing Devil won't be able to find us in a short time, Di Beichen said calmly. He didn't know how high Qing Devil's level was before. But even if she had recovered, it would take some time, which meant that they had something to develop. Besides, the Qing Devil was in the light while they were in the dark. As long as they were careful, it wouldn't be easy for the Qing Devil to find them. There were so many forces here and they weren't just sitting around doing nothing. What the Qing clan could easily do in the chaotic immortal realm was not so easy in the immortal realm. I also heard that the relationship between Lu family, Li family, and Qing family isn't very good in Lu Heart City. Previously they didn't get along because of some matters. However, there are many forces in Lu Heart City, and their roots are intertwined. Presumably they were worried that others would come and take advantage of them, so they didn't make a big fuss. Li family? The Li family that we met on our way here? That's right, it's them. Gong Jun nodded. Su Rian doesn't have a specific plan yet, but it's good to know more about Qing Devil's enemies. Maybe it will come in handy. What's your plan? Mo Yunjue said, it's not suitable for us to stay here for too long. I know it's dark under the light. But since we don't have enough confidence, we'll just waste time here. It's not worth it to stay here for that guy. Anyway, we're going to leave anyway. Why don't we make some money before we leave? Gong Jun's interest was immediately aroused. I've checked the warehouse. It's not bad. The only trouble is that it's guarded by a 4th level immortal and 2 3rd level immortals. I'm afraid it won't be easy for us to take action. Let's think about it and see if there's any way to lure them away, Bailey Hongzhuang said in a low voice. It was indeed not easy, but it didn't mean that there was no way. Chapter 74-41. Among the 8 of them, only Di Beichen and Bailey Hongzhuang were the strongest, but they were only at the 1st rank. Ever since they had a better understanding of this realm, they understood that it was not as easy to fight someone of a higher rank than them. An early stage level 1 might be able to defeat a middle stage level 1 or even an upper stage level 1, but defeating a level 2 was already very unlikely. As for a level 4, it was simply impossible. They wouldn't even think about it. Therefore, the only way was to trick the level 4 immortal to leave. The resource vault is the most important place to any power. The person guarding it will not leave easily. It will not be easy for us to lure him away. Mo Yunjue said in a low voice. Moreover, even if the 4th rank immortal is not here, there are still 2 3rd rank immortals. We are still no match for them. Zhongli Mu's expression was complicated. He had been traveling with Brother Mo for so long, and he had never been afraid of causing trouble. In fact, the trouble he caused was getting bigger and bigger. However, this did not mean that he did not know his own limits. If the difference in strength was too great, it meant that it was impossible for them to win. If they insisted on it, it would be no different from courting death. Sister-in-law, is there any way to deal with your poison? Gong Jun asked. Bailey Hongzhuang pondered for a moment. After breaking through to the elementary immortal stage, their body's resistance is very strong. Normal poisons will not have much effect on them. Although I can make a poison that is effective against them, they do not eat. This means that the poison can only be inhaled by them through the air. This way the effect will be greatly reduced. Everyone's heart sank. This was the best idea they could think of. If it still did not work, they could only give up on this plan. Sister-in-law, what effect will there be if the poison is greatly reduced? Gong Jun asked, unwilling to give up. They will be unconscious for about 5 minutes. Bailey Hongzhuang frowned. I will think of a way to make it longer, but it is not possible to extend it by too much. Her opponent's cultivation was higher than hers, and now that they were relatively poor, she did not have many immortal herbs in the immortal domain. It would be difficult to make a better poison. Gong Jun's eyes lit up. 5 minutes is already very impressive. 5 minutes might seem short, but with their cultivation 5 minutes was enough for them to do a lot of things. As long as we can lure that rank 4 immortal away and make the other 2 unconscious for 5 minutes, we can loot the warehouse and leave this place. Gong Jun's eyes were filled with excitement. Then we'll be rich. Seeing that Gong Jun had already started to daydream, everyone felt helpless and amused at the same time. They hadn't even made a plan yet, and this guy was already thinking about splitting the spoils. His thinking speed was really fast. Di Baichen said slowly, "We've been patrolling the area for the past few days, and we've gradually become familiar with the environment here. After a little more time, we'll have a better grasp of the terrain. Perhaps there's a way." "Boss, have you thought of a way?" Di Baichen smiled faintly. "Luring the tiger away from the mountain." "Luring the tiger away from the mountain?" Mo Yunjua's brows twitched. "That's not an easy thing to do." There were cultivators everywhere in the Qing family. Although there weren't many rank 1 immortals, there were many rank 1 immortals. Even if there was a commotion, it might not alarm the people in the warehouse. End of chapter. Chapter 74-42. That's why we have to create a huge commotion and cause the entire branch to be in an uproar. That's the only way to attract the attention of the people in the resource warehouse. Di Baichen's lips curled into a slight smile. His faint smile had a hint of mischief to it. Mo Yunjue and Di Baichen looked at each other and suddenly understood. The two of them tacitly turned to Bailey Hongzhuang. "Hongzhuang, I'm afraid we'll need your help again." "Meh? Aren't you very good at making explosives?" "We need a lot of explosives and we need to increase their power. When the time comes, we'll use the opportunity of patrolling to bury these explosives in other places. When we move, we only need to detonate the explosives and it will definitely cause a huge commotion. Everyone will run over to check it out. We'll create a diversion and use this opportunity to rob the resource warehouse. Once the news of the Qing clan being bombed spreads, the entire Qing clan will lose face. With such a huge commotion, even if they want to suppress the news, they won't be able to do it. We'll be getting back our interest." Seeing that Di Baichen and Mo Yunjue had come up with the entire plan so tacitly, Bai Li Yanche and the others couldn't help but gasp in amazement. This might sound a little crazy, but if you think about it carefully, it's not impossible. Bai Li Yanche's expression was serious. However, if we want to create a huge commotion, the explosives have to be powerful enough. If the explosion isn't powerful enough and the radius of the explosion isn't wide enough, the rank 4 immortals in the resource warehouse won't be attracted to it. Not only that, you have to find out if there are any powerful immortals in other places besides the resource warehouse. If there are immortals in other places, then not only will this plan fail, we might even be caught. When that happens, all of us will be finished." Ling'er added. Di Baichen nodded. "We've only come up with a rough plan. There are still many details to be confirmed. Hongzhuang, what do you think?" "The power of the explosives is indeed not bad, but the explosives used before are not very effective here." Bailey Hongzhuang's expression was serious. The celestial realm was different from the outside world. Moreover, the people here were all experts. Perhaps the instant of the explosion would cause a certain amount of commotion, but as long as the other party set up a protective barrier, it would be enough to reduce the impact to the minimum. Everyone was a little disappointed. If the explosives didn't work, then this plan wouldn't work. "Do you think the explosives are not powerful enough?" Di Baichen asked. "That's right. Explosives are quite effective in the upper realms. However, they have very little effect here." She and her master's wife had spent a lot of time researching this. In fact, when a cultivator's strength reached a certain level, these explosives wouldn't pose much of a threat. Unless we can find something even more powerful to add into the mix, it will be very difficult to create an explosion that will cause a commotion in the Qing clan's branch. After a long while, Di Baichen suddenly asked, "What about the blood spirit stones?" "Blood spirit stones?" Bailey Hongzhuang was slightly stunned. Then her eyes gradually lit up. "The blood spirit stones contain energy. A piece of high-grade blood spirit stone contains extremely pure and rich energy. If it's added into the mix and detonated, the power will be greatly increased. Perhaps I can give it a try." Chapter 74-43. After some discussion, everyone agreed that there was no need to rush into action. They had to understand the situation clearly before making any arrangements. Gong Jun's task was still to drink and chat with the other guards. He had to take the opportunity to understand the situation of this branch. Di Baichen and Mo Yunjue were in charge of finding a suitable place to set up an ambush. If they wanted to attract the rank 4 immortal from the resource warehouse, they had to think of a good place to set up an ambush. If they were too far away, the other party would not be able to open up the resource warehouse and would not be willing to leave. If they were too close, they would not be able to buy enough time. Hence, they had to consider this factor and choose a place that was neither too far nor too close. The other party would come over to take a look with some hope. However, it would take a few minutes for them to go back and forth. Only then would they be able to carry out their plan properly. Bailey Hongzhuang began to research whether adding blood spirit stones to the explosives would have a better effect. She also wanted to know how many blood spirit stones she had to put in to get the range she needed. This matter seemed simple, but it was not easy to plan it carefully. Ling saw that Bailey Hongzhuang had to study poisons and bombs. On the other hand, she didn't want to do anything. She felt a little guilty. Medical skills were too complicated. Without a certain amount of time, it could not be done well. Hence, she had no intention of interfering. However, she might be able to help with the explosives. Bailey Hongzhuang saw that Ling was interested and immediately explained the production principle. Ling understood immediately. This was not a complicated matter. Hence, she handed a portion of the work to Ling which sped up the process. We don't have many blood spirit stones. If we want to test the explosives, we have to go back. Bailey Hongzhuang frowned slightly. Their biggest problem was that they did not have enough blood spirit stones. It was definitely not suitable to experiment in the immortal region. No matter where they tried it, it would definitely attract a lot of people. Fortunately, they had the Chaos Ring. They could try it in there. The biggest problem was that they did not have enough blood spirit stones. Every time they tried it, they had to use up blood spirit stones. This was not easy. This meant that they had to control the number of times they tested it. Otherwise, they wouldn't even have the chance to use it. Not only that, Bailey Hongzhuang checked the remaining immortal herbs. She was afraid that she would have to go to the medicinal herb shop to buy some more immortal herbs. Otherwise, the poison she concocted would not be as effective. Money was needed everywhere. We don't have many blood spirit stones left. What should we do? Ling glanced at the blood spirit stones beside her. They didn't have many blood spirit stones to begin with. Otherwise, they wouldn't have joined in on the fun just because the Li family had rewarded them with 10 blood spirit stones. Blood spirit stones were consumed at a very fast rate. Moreover, 1 blood spirit stone was not enough for each experiment. He needed at least 10 blood spirit stones. Only in this way could the explosion have a certain degree of power, which was something that a rank 1 cultivator could not withstand. According to Bailey Hongzhuang, it would take at least 100 blood spirit stones to get a rank 4 immortal to show up. Otherwise, the other party wouldn't even bother. Right now, they couldn't do such an experiment at all. After a few tries, they would be empty-handed. Hence, they could only try small-scale experiments first. I don't have enough immortal herbs to refine pills. Bailey Hongzhuang looked worried. Don't worry. Let's think about it. We'll find a way eventually. Chapter 74-44. Di Baichen and the others had already given all the blood spirit stones they had to Bailey Hongzhuang. However, they knew very well that this amount of blood spirit stones would not last for long. If we use all the blood spirit stones to buy immortal spirit herbs, will it be enough to refine elixirs? Di Baichen asked. The value of elixirs had always been higher than immortal spirit herbs. If possible, they could refine elixirs a few more times to increase the amount of blood spirit stones. However, Bailey Hongzhuang would have to spend a lot of time doing so. Bailey Hongzhuang thought for a moment and shook her head. I'm not very sure either. According to what I know, the immortal spirit herbs in the immortal domain are probably not cheap. I can go out and take a look. It's worth it to pay the price now. As long as we can rob the resource vault, the cultivation resources will be enough for us to cultivate to rank 2 or even rank 3. Bai Lian-che smiled. Right now, all of them were penniless and struggling to make ends meet. However, as long as they could rob the resource vault, everyone would be rich. Bailey Hongzhuang nodded slightly. This was the truth. At this level, the speed of improvement could be said to be very slow if they relied on their own cultivation. Only by using cultivation resources could they increase the speed of their cultivation. Although they had consumed a lot of cultivation resources in the past, it could not be compared to now. It was likely that cultivating above the elementary celestial realm would consume a lot of resources. Even if they went to the 4 great continents, the situation would still be the same. Boss, I'm back. Gong Jun's voice came from outside the house. He walked in with a smile on his face. His proud appearance made people feel as if he had encountered something good. Gongjun, what's made you so happy? Bai Li Yanche teased. I saw that Qingjie often brought you out when he went out recently. He seems to think highly of you. Gongjun chuckled. It's all right. Actually, that guy likes it when people flatter him. Then did you get anything? Here, this is the money I got from going out with Qingjie these past few days. Gongjun placed the blood spirit stone on the table with a complacent look on his face. Bailey Hongzhuang glanced at the table. There were 300 blood spirit stones on the table. You are quite efficient. They don't receive many blood spirit stones in a month. Gongjun received 300 blood spirit stones just by going out for a stroll. That's pretty good. Of course. I think this guy is actually very vain. If I hang around him more, I think I'll be able to gain a lot. Sister-in-law, take a look and see if these blood spirit stones are enough to buy the immortal spirit herbs. Bailey Hongzhuang smiled. I'll go to the medicine shop tomorrow and see if I can buy the herbs I need. Sister, you have to keep these blood spirit stones well. Gongjun earned them by selling his body. They are all hard-earned money, Bai Li Yanche said with a sigh. Hearing this, everyone looked at Gongjun with smiles in their eyes. Bai Li Yanche, explain yourself clearly. How am I selling my body? Although he did smile a lot in front of Qingjie, I understand. I understand everything. Bai Li Yanche looked like he understood. You're not selling your body. You're selling your body. It's been hard on you. You are our expert at making money. Gongjun looked at Bai Li Yanche suspiciously. What Bai Li Yanche said made sense, but he felt like something was wrong. However, he couldn't figure out what it was. It's good that you know. You have to treat me better in the future. Otherwise, I won't give you any money to spend. Chapter 74-45. The next day, Bailey Hongzhuang and Ling Er went to the streets. The Qin clan did not restrict the entry and exit of cultivators, which gave them a lot of convenience. Walking on the crowded streets, Bailey Hongzhuang and Ling Er kept a low profile. They did not look at anyone as they did not want to get into any trouble. This street is really long. The cities in the celestial realm are much bigger than the cities outside. Ling Er was in a good mood. Only when one came to a wider plane would one be able to see a wider world. Thinking back, she thought that the upper realm was already pretty good. Now, compared to the upper realm, the difference was really too big. There are many kinds of shops, but we have not seen a medicine shop yet. Bailey Hongzhuang looked at both sides of the street. Along the way they had seen many medicine shops, weapon shops and so on, but they had not seen a medicine shop. Don't tell me the people here buy the pills directly? Ling Er looked confused. Even in the realm of chaotic immortals, there were a lot of medicinal herb shops. Look, that 10,000 herbs pavilion should be selling medicinal herbs. Bailey Hongzhuang noticed a signboard at the corner in front of them, and her eyes lit up. Let's go and take a look. The two of them quickened their pace, and when they got closer, they realized that it was indeed a medicine shop. Instantly they smiled. We finally found it. Just when Bailey Hongzhuang was about to enter the shop, her footsteps paused slightly. Ling Er could not help but be confused. Hongzhuang, what's wrong? What a coincidence, I met an acquaintance. An acquaintance. Ling Er turned her head and saw an extremely familiar figure. It can't be, right? Gongjun is actually here? Qingjie likes to bring Gongjun out to do things these days. Think about it, when you want to be arrogant, you have an assistant by your side. Doesn't that feel good? Bailey Hongzhuang's lips curved slightly. Qingjie himself was a troublemaker, but he obviously wasn't happy to go out alone. Now that he found a subordinate who could cooperate with him, it was simply perfect. Ah. It does feel good, Ling Er nodded. So, Qingjie brought Gongjun along because of this? Isn't that a lackey? Bailey Hongzhuang. That makes sense. Gongjun also noticed Bailey Hongzhuang and Gu Ruoyun. He just winked at them and continued to follow Qingjie respectfully. Let's go. Bailey Hongzhuang did not look at them again and walked into the pavilion of herbs. Miss, what would you like to buy? The waiter quickly came up to her. Bailey Hongzhuang handed the list to the waiter. I want to buy these immortal spirit herbs. Before she came, she had already drawn up a list. She thought that the shop should have a complete collection of low-grade immortal herbs. However, the more valuable immortal herbs might not be available. The waiter looked through all the immortal spirit herbs on the list and said, We have all the herbs in front, but the price of this Yunji lotus is not low. Even the younger ones cost 500 high-grade blood spirit stones. Miss you. Noticing the waiter's kind gaze, Bailey Hongzhuang understood that the waiter saw that she was only a first-grade immortal and did not have many cultivation resources. She might not be able to afford this. In fact, it was not impossible, but she really could not afford it. Then let's buy the ones in front first, Bailey Hongzhuang said. She had only written this Yunji lotus because she wanted to know the market price. The price was not something they could afford now. Chapter 74-46. All right, please wait a moment. The attendant smiled. He did not look down on them because of this. Then he went to the back to prepare the immortal spirit herbs they needed. Hongzhuang, what is the Yunjilian used for? Asked Linger. The Yunjilian is used to make knockout pills. I've thought of a few recipes. Although it's useful for us, it won't have much effect on grade 3 immortals. If I add the Yunjilian, I'll be more confident. However, the herbs are more expensive. Bailey Hongzhuang felt a little helpless. She had already calculated that she could only achieve the effect she needed by adding the Yunjilian. However, she could not afford it now. She would sell the pills after she successfully refined them. She should be able to earn some blood spirit stones. Then it would not be too late to buy the Yunjilian. Most importantly, she was sure that this shop had it. It seems that we have to buy the Yunjilian no matter what. Ling Er frowned. I don't know if Gong Jun can make any more money. Otherwise, given our current situation, I'm afraid we'll have to spend a lot of time on this. Making explosives required blood spirit stones. The knockout pills also required blood spirit stones. She had never felt so poor before. Even if she added up all her belongings, there was still a big hole. The price of the Immortal Protectorate could not be compared to the chaotic Immortal Protectorate. Perhaps it was because the cultivation resources here were more abundant and more precious. Although the two places were in the same plane, they were two completely different worlds. Everything could not be compared. Gong Jun had made some money when he opened the Thousand Treasures Pavilion. However, after opening a restaurant and buying a house in the chaotic Immortal Protectorate, he did not have much left. Now, everyone was embarrassingly short of money. Even if she wanted to refine pills, she had to refine pills that cultivators in the Immortal Protectorate could use. Those from the chaotic Immortal Protectorate were useless here. Let's try refining pills first. It would be best if we could find a place like the Alchemist Guild. If someone needs help refining pills, they might be able to make money faster. Bailey Hongzhuang thought to herself. No matter where it was, pills were extremely popular. Many people needed the help of an alchemist, but just like how the other party couldn't find an alchemist, she also couldn't find the person she needed. Most importantly, her alchemy skills were not enough to refine high-grade pills. If she wanted to start from this step, she would have to spend a lot of time. Miss, all the herbs you want are here. The attendant placed the herbs one by one in front of Bailey Hongzhuang. Here's a total of 680. If there's no problem, I'll wrap it up for you. Bailey Hongzhuang glanced at them. They were indeed the herbs she needed. She immediately nodded. That's right. Once she handed over 680 blood spirit stones, Linger couldn't help but feel her heart ache. She was becoming poorer and poorer. Qingjie, why are you like a mad dog? You follow us wherever we go. As soon as she stepped out of the door, Bailey Hongzhuang heard an exasperated voice that sounded familiar. Isn't that the one from the Li family that I saw last time? Linger saw him at a glance. This scene was very similar to what had happened in the Flying Dharma artifact. Indeed. Bailey Hongzhuang raised her eyebrows. It seems like these two are at odds again. The way I see it, this isn't a coincidence at all. Qingjie is just deliberately looking for trouble. Linger's eyes were filled with mockery. Qingjie was a restless fellow. It was impossible to believe that this was a coincidence. Chapter 74-47. Who are you calling a mad dog? Qingjie was instantly enraged. You're just a guy who picked up a used shoe. You parade this woman around the city every day. I just happened to bump into her. Calling me a mad dog? Why don't you call yourself one? Li Rui's was even angrier when he heard that. Who's parading around the city? I haven't been out for the past few days. Today is the first time I've come out. I don't believe you. Qingjie sneered. If you want to be with this woman, that's your business. But don't keep appearing in front of me. You're an eyesore. That's right. Even a glance at this kind of guy would dirty our young Master Jie's eyes. Who would want to see him? He really knows how to flatter himself. Gong Jun stood behind Qingjie. His eyes were full of mockery, as if Qingjie was some kind of noble person. The moment these words were spoken, Li Rui's and his group became even angrier. On the contrary, it was Qingjie who had a complacent expression as he glanced at Gong Jun with satisfaction. Among the people who had followed him all these years, only Gong Jun was the most perceptive. Look at that. What a good word. Linger was speechless as she looked at Gong Jun, who was acting like a lackey. Her lips twitched. Normally, I want to hit this kind of guy whenever I see him. Bailey Hongzhuang, then this person is Gong Jun. Do you still want to hit him? Honestly? I still want to hit him. Bailey Hongzhuang smiled helplessly. This kind of character really deserved a beating. Didn't you see how the Li family couldn't wait to eat Gong Jun alive? Speaking of which, this Qing Jie really knows how to cause trouble. The Li family is really unlucky to have met him. I think this trouble won't be over after today. Miss, you know young Master Jie too? Bailey Hongzhuang couldn't help but look to her side. She realized that the person who spoke was the attendant from before. She had a good impression of the attendant, so she said, I've heard of it. I saw this scene when I was on the flying artifact. I see. The attendant smiled and sighed. This young Master Li is an honest and considerate person. He's not as arrogant and despotic as young Master Jie, so I can't beat him in this aspect. Looking at their situation, it should be a long-standing grudge. It's not because of a woman, right? The Li clan and the Qing clan have always been at odds with each other. It's just that Miss Geng used to be young Master Jie's Dao companion. Now that she's with young Master Li, there's naturally more trouble. The way I see it, young Master Li is actually about to die from anger, but as long as he doesn't make a move, he can't do anything to the other party. This Qing Jie is so arrogant. Why didn't Li Rui's attack him directly? That girl was repeatedly insulted. How upset was she? Linger asked, puzzled. Normally, if they were truly in love, why would they be willing to see a woman being humiliated like this? Young Master Jie doesn't look like he's doing anything right, but he's not weak. The difference in strength between the two sides isn't big. If they really fight, Li Rui's won't have any advantage. Moreover, young Master Jie's big brother is stronger. If his big brother shows up, it'll be even harder to clean up the mess. So, although young Master Li is depressed, it's not wise to fight now. The attendant explained. Hearing that, Bailey Hongzhuang and Linger understood. They could only endure this situation. After all, they were weaker than the other party. Chapter 74-48. Qing Jie, don't be arrogant just because your big brother is strong. My big brother will break through soon, and when that time comes, he'll tear your mouth apart. Li Ruiyang's face was ashen, and the veins on his temples were bulging. His anger roared like an angry lion. If it wasn't for the last bit of rationality left in him, he would have already charged forward. Qing Jie's proud expression changed slightly, and he was a little surprised. He didn't expect Li Rui's to be about to break through. Could it be that I've given you too much pressure and that's why you're about to break through? Qing Jie chuckled. Then you'll have to thank me properly. Go to hell. Li Rui said angrily. Big brother, let's go. Don't bother with this guy. Let's go too. Bailey Hongzhuang looked at Linger, and the curve of her lips unconsciously rose a little. Noticing the change in Bailey Hongzhuang's expression, Linger couldn't help but ask, did you think of something? I suddenly thought of a way to make money, but it depends on whether the other party is willing to buy it. What way? Qing Jie has provoked them time and time again. Don't you think the Li family hates him? Of course. Didn't you see Li Rui's eyes turn red just now? He couldn't wait to kill Qing Jie. If it weren't for the fact that he's not strong enough, he would have already made his move. Bailey Hongzhuang smiled. So, this is an opportunity. What do you mean? They want to teach Qing Jie a lesson, but they can't do it because of their lack of strength. If I can help them, do you think they'll be willing? Linger immediately understood when she heard this. Her clear black and white eyes became brighter. You mean to ask the Li family to pay? It might be an opportunity. As long as we can help, I'm sure they'll be willing. Bailey Hongzhuang's dark and bright eyes flashed with wisdom. Her worried expression disappeared, and she suddenly felt confident. This matter sounded a little unreliable, but with the other party's hatred for Qing Jie, it was very likely that they would agree. Then how do you plan to contact them? Send someone to inform them? Bailey Hongzhuang nodded. The Li family's residence is easy to find. We just need to ask around for Li Ruiyang's location, write a letter to him and wait for his response. Li Ruiyang? Linger was stunned. Is it Li Rui's? No, it's Li Ruiyang. Bailey Hongzhuang's lips curled. Li Ruiyang is a generous person. In other words, he's a gentleman. He might not even bother to do such a thing, but it's obvious that he hates Qing Jie to the core. As long as it's possible to punish Qing Jie, he'll definitely be willing to try. Hong Zhuang, you're really smart. Ling Er understood. I saw that Li Ruiyang was even angrier than Li Rui's. It's very likely that he'll agree. But what kind of punishment do you plan to give Qingjie? Didn't Li Ruiyang just say that he wanted to tear Qingjie's mouth apart? Bailey Hongzhuang's eyebrows slanted, a proud expression on her face. We'll let him do as he wishes. The two of them acted very quickly. After writing the letter, they disguised themselves and went to the Li family to have the letter delivered. The next day in the restaurant, Li Ruiyang looked at the unfamiliar man in front of him. His eyes were filled with suspicion. You're the one who handed this letter to me? That's me. How dare you? Li Ruiyang's face turned serious. His aura immediately enveloped Bailey Hongzhuang. Do you know what will happen to you once I deliver this letter to the Qing family? End of chapter. Chapter 74-49. Mr. Li, since I dared to send you a letter like this, I naturally have thought everything through. There is no need for you to test me. Bailey Hongzhuang's expression was normal. Facing the serious Li Ruiyang, she was calm and composed. Her voice was calm and steady. I know that Qingjie has gone overboard with his actions. I'm sure you have reached the end of your patience. I can do this for you. All I need is some compensation. If you agree, then I will act. If you don't, then it's fine. Why should I believe you? Li Ruiyang narrowed his eyes. Looking at this man who came out of nowhere, his heart was full of doubts. When he received this letter yesterday, he thought it was ridiculous that someone would say something like this. But after thinking about it, if this man could really do it, then it would be very satisfying. So today he decided to come out and see if this man really had the ability. Mr. Li, 1,000 blood spirit stones is not a big sum to you. Why don't you just give it a try? Plus, even if someone wanted to trick you, no one would use such a method to trick you. Bailey Hongzhuang was unmoved. From the moment Li Ruiyang came out to meet her today, she knew that this move had succeeded. If she wasn't moved, Li Ruiyang wouldn't have come out. 7 days. Can you make Qingjie unable to speak for 7 days? Can you make his lips fester and cause him extreme pain? Bailey Hongzhuang nodded. I promise you, as long as Mr. Li pays the deposit, I will let you see the results very quickly. Li Rui's thought about it. 1,000 blood spirit stones was really nothing to him. If this guy could really help him vent his anger, then it would be great. These days he was about to go crazy from anger because of Qingjie. However, he was curious about this guy. Who was Qingjie? He had quite a bit of influence in the Qing clan's branch, and it wasn't an easy task to make a move on him. Furthermore, with Qingjie's cultivation, the grade of the poison wouldn't be low to make him unable to speak. If this guy was really a poison master of that level, why would he care about 1,000 blood spirit stones? In short, this matter was really strange. If Bailey Hongzhuang knew what Qingjie was thinking, she would be helpless. She was really short on money. She had carefully considered the price of 1,000 blood spirit stones. If the price was too high, Li Ruiyang probably wouldn't agree. If the price was too low, it wouldn't be worth the risk. 1,000 blood spirit stones was in the middle, it was more appropriate. I won't give you a deposit. 1,000 blood spirit stones. I hope you can do it. Bailey Hongzhuang accepted the blood spirit stone on the table, a smile blooming on her lips. Li Gongzi, don't worry. You will soon see the results. If you need me to help you with other things, you can contact me. The location is this restaurant. Gong Jun looked at Bailey Hongzhuang in front of him, and his eyes were full of surprise. Sister-in-law, you earn money faster than me. You earned 1,000 blood spirit stones in the blink of an eye. How did you earn so much? Bai Li Yanche and the others were also surprised. They saw Hongzhuang buy the herbs. She hadn't even refined the pills yet. How did she earn so much money in the blink of an eye? Bailey Hongzhuang smiled faintly. I didn't earn it alone, I earned it with you. Me. Gong Jun pointed at himself. Sister-in-law, are you sure you're talking about me? Chapter 74-50. Their speed was so fast that it was as if the two of them had never appeared. With a light breeze, the two of them had already disappeared. Xiren wanted to leave immediately, but thinking that those fellows were chasing after him, if he went out now, it would be too conspicuous. He simply entered the city quickly and found a restaurant to hide in. The elders of the Qing clan were about to go crazy. They were chasing after a man and a woman, but who would have thought that these two fellows were not human? A dragon flew directly into the sky, the sea of clouds churning easily. Although they could also fly, they needed to use their energy and could not fly by themselves. That was fine. It was not easy to chase after those in the sky, but those on the ground should be easy, right? But as they chased, they suddenly realized that the one on the ground was actually a beast king. Beast king. This was a demonic beast that they had heard of but had never seen before. The probability of encountering a beast king was almost the same as the probability of breaking through to the 9th level overnight. Yet, such a thing had really happened right in front of their eyes. Now, with a roar from the beast king, all the fellows from the beast race came. Gradually, they could only watch as the beast king ran further and further away. With so many of them chasing after them, in the end they actually let the two of them escape. Thinking of the situation when they returned, they were afraid that they would all be punished. This was a huge loss of face. Fourth Elder, what should we do? Should we still chase? Chase. Fourth Elder's face was ashen. I noticed that their aura is heading towards the city. They should be hiding in the city now. Fourth Elder, we have already caused a big commotion today. Many people are guessing what happened. Once we enter the city, the impact will be even greater. At that time, if they found them, then so be it. If they couldn't find them, then they would all lose face. Fourth Elder naturally understood the crux of the matter. But if they let the two fellows escape like this, he could not afford to lose face. The rest of you go back first. The three of us will enter the city. Fourth Elder thought for a while and said. Hearing this, everyone nodded. The three of them were not too big of a target. As long as they were careful and did not directly expose their target, it would be fine. Fourth Elder and the other two entered the city and spread out their spiritual energy. Along the streets, they felt the aura of the two fellows were very eye-catching. As long as they locked onto their aura, they would definitely not be able to escape. However, they didn't see any of them along the way. It was truly strange. Those fellows are also from the Qing clan, right? The Qing clan is really interesting today. First, they sent a 3rd stage expert. Now they have a 4th stage expert and 2 3rd stage experts. What do you think they want to do? To hunt down an elementary immortal with this level of cultivation, isn't the strength of the Qing clan a little too weak? That rank 3 from before still hasn't been found. I don't know if he was traumatized, but he actually entered the brothel. After Fourth Elder and the other two entered the city, they noticed that the people around them were looking at them strangely. He also felt that it was very strange. After all, the previous movements were outside, so they shouldn't have attracted so much attention. When they heard the discussion of these people, their expressions suddenly became very strange. The rank 3 of our family? There doesn't seem to be a single rank 3 in the hunting teams. What's going on? The three of them hesitated for a moment before walking towards the direction of the brothel. They felt that this person was definitely not from the Qing clan. Who knows, this person might be the mastermind of those fellows, purposely trying to ruin the reputation of the Qing clan in order to confuse the public. After all, no one would go to a brothel to investigate such things. Chapter 74:51. Then I'll leave this mission to you. Although Qing Jie trusts you now, you still have to be careful when you make a move. It'll be troublesome if you're discovered, Bailey Hongzhuang said. Gong Jun was touched. Sister-in-law, don't worry. I'll be extra careful. Qing Jie definitely won't find out. However, I have another question. Why didn't you just poison Qing Jie to death? Why did you just teach him a lesson? 7 days of ulceration at the corner of his mouth was actually just to prank him. It was uncomfortable, but it was more of a loss of face. If we directly killed Qing Jie, wouldn't we lose this business in the future? Looking at Bailey Hongzhuang's matter-of-fact expression, Zhong Limu and the others were dumbfounded. Hongzhuang had turned bad. In the past it was just a trap. Now it had become a series of traps. Gong Jun looked at Di Baichen with admiration. Boss, sister-in-law has already begun to learn your essence. You're worth teaching. This is quite good. First, we'll earn 1,000 blood spirit stones. Then Gong Jun and Qing Jie will go and pull some aggro. Then we'll earn some more blood spirit stones. This is probably much faster than other methods of earning money. Bai Li Yanche's eyes lit up. He suddenly seemed to have found a good way to make money. I've already prepared the medicine. Find a chance. Bailey Hongzhuang handed the medicine to Gong Jun and reminded him to be careful. Don't worry. The next day, Qing Jie woke up early in the morning and found that he couldn't speak. Not only that, but the corner of his mouth was also very painful. When he looked in the mirror, he immediately exploded. His mouth and tongue were sore and his lips were full of blisters. It was as if his face was disfigured. It was extremely ugly. Someone, come, He shouted with all his might, but he found that he couldn't make a sound. No one noticed his situation. Damn it, how could this be? Qing Jie roared in his heart. At this level of cultivation, it was impossible for him to have ulcers in his mouth and tongue. Someone must be trying to harm him. I'll tear your mouth apart when the time comes. Qing Jie couldn't help but recall what Li Ruiyang had said a few days ago. At that time he didn't take it to heart at all. He didn't expect that such a thing would actually happen now. Could it be related to Li Ruiyang? The Li family. Have you heard? Qing Jie's mouth is actually sore and he can't even speak. Previously he was so arrogant and swaggering through the streets every day. I think he doesn't even dare to go out now. That guy's mouth is so venomous. I'm afraid this is God's punishment for him. He deserved it. The next time we meet, if he still has such a big mouth, I can give him a good scolding. After Li Ruiyang heard the conversation in the courtyard, his expression became extremely strange. He had indeed given the other party 1,000 blood spirit stones. However, after returning, the more he thought about it, the more he felt that his action was really too stupid. It was impossible for the other party to really do this. Perhaps they were only here to cheat him. However, he didn't expect to see a joke so quickly. The transaction yesterday had resulted in Qing Jie becoming like this today. The effect was exactly the same as that man had said. It was practically instantaneous. Ruiyang, your mouth is really accurate, ha. A hand rested on Li Ruiyang's shoulder, causing him to quiver in fright. How are you? Li Rui's asked in confusion. Only then did Li Ruiyang come back to his senses. He shook his head and said, I just feel that it's really so accurate. Even I don't dare to believe it. Chapter 74-52. Li Ruiyang was all smiles. Evil is doomed to destruction. This guy deserves it, but I don't think this is a coincidence. Someone must have done something to Qing Jie. Otherwise he wouldn't have ended up like this. I just don't know who did it. Big brother, why do you care who it is? In any case, he helped us vent our anger. It's fine as long as you're happy. Li Ruiyang was in a good mood. It's a pity that Qing Jie must be hiding for the next few days. Otherwise, it would be even more satisfying if I could see it with my own eyes. Haha, that's true. Li Rui's laughed. I'll go tell Yulin this good news first. Only after Li Rui's left did Li Ruiyang think about what had happened. He had underestimated the other party's ability. The 1,000 blood spirit stones he had spent had been well worth it. I didn't expect that kid to be so capable. To be able to make Qing Jie like this. Could it be that he's one of Qing Jie's people? Li Rui's chuckled. This guy is really infuriating. Even so many people around him hate him. He really deserves it. Qing Jie didn't leave the house for several days. Gong Jun also had some rare free time, so everyone gathered together again. Boss, I did a good job, didn't I? His face was filled with a smug smile as he looked at Di Beichen. You didn't leave any traces, right? Of course not. I'm someone who's very afraid of death. I couldn't have been more careful when I did this. No one would have discovered me. You did well. Di Beichen was not stingy with his praise. After this incident, Qing Jie should also know that this matter is related to the people around him. Perhaps he has already begun to investigate. You have to be careful. Bailey Hongzhuang was very concerned. Although it was to make money and she had said it as a joke, she was still worried about Gong Jun's safety. They were currently in the Qing family. If they were discovered, Gong Jun would definitely be the first to bear the brunt. This was not something she wanted to see. Sister-in-law, you don't have to worry about me. Gong Jun was very confident. Qing Jie goes to so many places every day and meets so many people. How could he know who did it? Moreover, I've been favored by him recently. Everyone is jealous of how fast I climb up the ranks. No one would think that I would harm Qing Jie. The saying that it was dark under the light really worked. If it was anyone else, after being promoted by Qing Jie like this, they would definitely not go against him. It was just that no one expected that he already had a grudge with the Qing clan. That's good. Bailey Hongzhuang felt relieved. Regarding the explosives, I have already tested them. After adding blood spirit stones, the explosive power will indeed increase a lot. As long as you add more blood spirit stones, you should be able to achieve the explosive power you need. Hearing this, everyone heaved a sigh of relief. This was, without a doubt, extremely good news. That's good. When the time comes and we make such a big commotion, it will definitely attract a lot of people. Gong Jun breathed a sigh of relief. Once we rob the resource warehouse, we can leave this place. It's weird to stay here all day. I'll go to the medicine store again and buy the herbs we need. I'll also sell the pill I refined and see if I can gather the blood spirit stones we need. Bailey Hongzhuang lowered her eyes. She had done some calculations. This might not be enough, but she would take it one step at a time. Maybe there would be a better way. Chapter 7453. I've also made 2 high-grade array stones. Let's go and see if we can sell them. Bei Qin took out the array stones that he had made during his free time. The higher grade of the array stones, the more complicated it would be to make, and the more energy it would take. In order to make these, he had failed many times. After all, this level of improvement was not immediate. Bailey Hongzhuang took the array stones and said with a faint smile, "I'll go and ask when the time comes. But now that we've taken out all the array stones, I think it's best to leave some blood spirit stones. If our plan doesn't succeed, at least we have the money to leave. It's better to be safe than sorry." Everyone nodded. This was also a problem they had to consider. The next day, Bailey Hongzhuang and Ling Er went out again and bought the herbs they couldn't afford before. "Miss, do you still need other herbs?" This was the second time the attendant had seen Bailey Hongzhuang. He still remembered clearly how she couldn't afford it the last time, but he didn't expect her to come again so soon. It could be seen that she really needed it. Bailey Hongzhuang thought for a moment, then said, "Little brother, do you know where I can buy pills nearby?" "Miss wants to sell pills?" The attendant was a little surprised. Thinking about Bailey Hongzhuang's previous actions, he suddenly understood. Could it be that Miss is actually an alchemist? Yes. Bailey Hongzhuang didn't deny it. "I'm new here and embarrassed, so I want to sell these pills." "I understand." The attendant nodded repeatedly. "Miss is young, but as an alchemist you're already very powerful. As long as you spend more time, you will definitely become a master in the future. We are a medicinal shop, so we only buy herbs. Since Miss wants to sell pills, I think you should go to the Thousand Treasures Pavilion. Although the Wanbao Pavilion mainly sells all kinds of things that cultivators need, they also recycle them. It's just that the price is slightly lower." Bailey Hongzhuang had mixed feelings when she heard the 10,000 Treasures Pavilion again. She really didn't expect that after going around in circles, she would have to go to the 10,000 Treasures Pavilion again. She only hoped that the Immortal Domain's 10,000 Treasures Pavilion wouldn't be the same as the one in Xiyin City. "Thank you, little brother." The 10,000 Treasures Pavilion was not far from the medicine store. Bailey Hongzhuang thought about it and found a place to dress up as a man. Selling medicinal pills was more eye-catching than buying medicinal herbs. If she was noticed by others, it would be difficult to avoid trouble. As the largest resource store in the Immortal Realm, the 10,000 Treasures Pavilion was much larger than the other stores. There were also many people coming and going inside. "Young master, what do you need?" As soon as he stepped into the 10,000 Treasures Pavilion, the attendant greeted him warmly. Unlike the other cultivators who were shopping, Bailey Hongzhuang said directly, "I want to sell medicinal pills and formation stones." Hearing this, the attendant's eyes changed slightly for a moment, but he quickly smiled and said, "Young master, please come with me." Under the attendant's lead, Bailey Hongzhuang and the other person walked inside and saw an old man. "This is the appraiser of our 10,000 Treasures Pavilion. Elder Yang is in charge of recycling." The old man also looked at Bailey Hongzhuang, but his gaze paused meaningfully on the two of them for a moment, then quickly returned to normal. "Young master, what do you want to sell? Why don't you let this old man take a look? Our store is honest, young master can rest assured." Chapter 7454. Bailey Hongzhuang and Ling Er were both shocked. Although the old man in front of them looked very old, they felt as if they had been seen through with just one glance. It was obvious that the old man's cultivation level was much higher than theirs. The so-called disguise was almost useless under the old man's gaze. Since they had been seen through, Bailey Hongzhuang did not mind. If the old man did not expose them, it meant that he was not interested in this matter. As long as what they did had nothing to do with the Wanbao Pavilion, the old man would not care. She placed the pill and array stone on the table. "Elder Yang, these are the things I want to sell. Please take a look." Elder Lu took the pill in his hand. With just one glance he could tell the grade of the pill. "This is a second-grade bone-tempering pill?" "Yes." Bailey Hongzhuang had some understanding of the situation in the Immortal Domain recently. This second-grade bone-tempering pill corresponded to the pills used by second-grade cultivators to temper their limbs. After consumption, the tempering speed would increase. With her current strength and the immortal herbs she could only refine a second-grade bone-tempering pill. Second-grade bone-tempering pills are not uncommon. We sell many of them in our shop. However, the refining technique of this pill is not bad. The pill is very round and full. There are even 2 pill veins on it. It is a rare second-grade bone-tempering pill. Elder Lu sized it up. Suddenly, his expression changed slightly. Wait. The refining technique of this pill is very unusual. If I'm not wrong, the effects of this pill should be stronger than ordinary bone-tempering pills, right? Ling saw that Elder Lu, who had been unfathomable before, suddenly had a change in expression. Even when he looked at Hong Zhuang, his eyes were filled with curiosity. She also found it very funny. It was obviously very difficult to pretend to be cold in front of Hong Zhuang. Elder Lu has good eyesight. Bailey Hong Zhuang praised. Heroes come from the young. Old Lu's face was full of admiration, and his attitude was even more cordial than before. Originally, we would have bought the bone-tempering pill at a price 20% lower than the selling price, but this pill of yours is much stronger than ordinary pills, so I'll buy it at the selling price. What do you think, young master? No problem. Thank you very much. Bailey Hong Zhuang smiled. The price offered by Mr. Lu was already not bad. Because of the improvement of the medicinal properties, the price was increased by 20%. It was considered fair. Let me take another look at this array stone. After Elder Lu became interested in the elixir, he became spirited and immediately looked at the array stone. This array stone, the standard is not bad. If I'm not wrong, this should be an array stone used for teleportation. Moreover, the distance is very far and the activation time is short. It's already considered a fine item in this grade. Old Lu looked at Bailey Hong Zhuang suspiciously. Originally, he wasn't very interested in her disguise. But after seeing these 2 things, he felt that the person behind this girl wasn't simple at all. Miss, may I have the opportunity to get to know this alchemist and array master? Elder Lu, if fate wills it, we will definitely meet. Elder Lu nodded slightly and did not insist. This second-grade bone-tempering pill is 2,000 blood spirit stones, and this array stone is 5,000 blood spirit stones. What do you think? Hearing this price, Bailey Hong Zhuang was a little surprised. According to what she knew, this grade of array stone was at most 4,000 blood spirit stones. How could the price be 1,000 blood spirit stones higher? Among the array stones, teleportation array stones are the most valuable. Chapter 7455. The activation time of this formation stone is shorter than other formation stones of the same grade. When a cultivator needs to save their life, the effect of this formation stone will be better. This is its true value. If you sell it, the price will be higher. Elder Lu's face revealed a kind smile. This old man hopes to get to know this alchemist and formation master one day. Naturally, I won't take advantage of you in this matter. Bailey Hong Zhuang finally understood. During this period of time, whenever Beichen went back, he would study formation stones by himself. It seemed that he had really made a lot of progress. When he participated in the competition, he saw formations that greatly improved Beichen's formation skills. It seemed that Beichen would really become a very powerful formation master in the future. This formation master is so good at making spatial formation stones. Maybe he has the opportunity to build a transmission array. Even in the Immortal region, there are not many formation masters who can do this. Elder Lu's eyes were full of admiration. Why is that? Bailey Hong Zhuang was a little surprised. In fact, the creation of a transmission array was not too complicated. Otherwise, there would not be transmission arrays in the lower planes. It seems that you haven't been in the Immortal region for long. Bailey Hong Zhuang was slightly startled. She secretly thought that this guy was really an old fox. With just a few words, he already knew that she was a newcomer. It can't escape Elder Lu's eyes. Haha. Elder Lu had already guessed Bailey Hong Zhuang's inner thoughts from the look in her eyes. He suddenly felt that it was interesting. You must think that I'm an old fox. However, you can rest assured that as long as you don't want to, this old man will not investigate anything else. I also believe that Elder Lu is a senior worthy of respect. Bailey Hong Zhuang cupped her hands. She was certain that this old man had a high status in Luoxan City. If he really wanted to investigate their origins, she was afraid that they would not be able to escape. However, as Elder Lu said, even if he admired them, he would not be so shameless as to really investigate them. Juniors? You're flattering me. Elder Lu chuckled and didn't care. Young master has only been in the Immortal region for a short period of time, so you don't know that the restrictions in the Immortal region are different from the outside world. The teleportation location is also very far away, and the principles involved are much more complicated than those teleportation arrays outside. There were many talented people in the celestial realm, but there were not many formation masters who could do this. This was because many of the patterns that were very simple on the outside were very difficult to continue here. As for why I think so highly of this array master, it's because although his array master's level isn't very high, the spatial laws contained here are very interesting. When I first came to the celestial realm, I was able to use the formation stones I created. Don't you think it's very interesting? Bailey Hongzhuang finally understood. So this was the reason why the other party looked at them differently. She had seen the two array stones and the theory used was similar to what they had made in the past. No, the array techniques that she and Beichen learned came from He Shinjun. Obviously, He Shinjun came from the celestial realm, so the array techniques he left behind were suitable for the celestial realm. The reason why they could be used outside was because the array techniques they created were of a higher level. In an instant, Bailey Hongzhuang understood everything. These were the array stones of the celestial realm that could be used in the outside world, but the array stones of the outside world could not be used in the celestial realm. Chapter 7456. They were short of money, so it was great that Lulu was willing to give them an extra 1,000 blood spirit stones. Elder Lu quickly took the 7,000 blood spirit stones. Bailey Hongzhuang couldn't help but sigh as she looked at the blood spirit stones in her storage ring. If she had known earlier, she wouldn't have worked so hard to earn money in the outside world. It was much easier to earn blood spirit stones in the realm of chaos compared to the immortal realms. However, the situation was different in different places. Cultivators in the immortal realms all used blood spirit stones, so it wasn't a big deal. However, in the realm of chaos, everyone used blood spirit stones of medium or even low quality. Therefore, blood spirit stones of high quality were very precious. Elder Lu, young Master Li asked if we have any formation stones that can be activated for a short time. A waiter walked over from the front. What a coincidence. Elder Lu glanced outside. There are 2 second-grade formation stones here. They should suit young Master Li's needs. The waiter couldn't help but look at Bailey Hongzhuang. He picked up the formation stones and was about to leave when Li Rui's and Li Ruiyang walked over. How is it? Do you have any more formation stones? Young Master Li, we happen to have 2 formation stones that suit your needs. Why don't you take a look? Li Rui's nodded slightly. Okay. Li Ruiyang noticed Bailey Hongzhuang, and with a glance, his expression changed slightly. He looked around suspiciously. Could it be that this guy followed him in? Bailey Hongzhuang nodded slightly at Li Ruiyang. It wasn't a big movement, so no one else noticed. Elder Lu, I'll take my leave first. Okay. Remember to come again when you have time. Elder Lu looked at Bailey Hongzhuang meaningfully. What an interesting guy. However, when these words fell into Li Ruiyang's ears, he could not help but be shocked. This fellow actually had such a close relationship with Elder Lu? After knowing about Qingjie's matter, he felt that this guy had some ability, but now he was also involved with Elder Lu. He knew very well what kind of person Elder Lu was. Since this person was so close to Elder Lu, he was definitely not a simple person. However, this person was willing to help him for just 1,000 blood spirit stones. This was too strange. Li Ruiyang was confused. Seeing that Li Rui's was still looking at the array stone, he took the opportunity to catch up to Bailey Hongzhuang. Wait. Bailey Hongzhuang stopped in her tracks and looked at Li Ruiyang, who had caught up with her. Is something the matter, young master? I have a question for you, Li Ruiyang said in a deep voice. Young Master Li, I've always been a businessman. I'm not responsible for answering questions. If you want to do business with me, I'll naturally welcome it. However, I'm really not interested in answering your question. Li Ruiyang was stunned. He really didn't know anything about this guy. Now that he had a relationship with Elder Lu, he didn't dare to be too tough. Goodbye. Just as Bailey Hongzhuang turned to leave, Li Ruiyang hurriedly said, I want to do business with you. The corners of Bailey Hongzhuang's lips curled up slightly. Welcome. Go to that restaurant and wait for me. I'll be there soon, Li Ruai said as he pointed at the restaurant across the street. Okay. Bailey Hongzhuang gave Ling a look, and the two of them walked toward the restaurant. When Li Ruiyang saw this, he hurriedly went to the 10,000 treasures pavilion and said goodbye to Li Rui's. Then he quickly left. Ruiyang, you're leaving already? Ruiyang? Li Rui's was still shouting, but Li Ruiyang had already disappeared. Chapter 7457. Seriously, this guy disappeared without saying anything clearly. Could it be that he met a girl he likes? When Elder Lu heard this, he couldn't help but look outside the door. Could it be that the two of them had such a relationship? In the restaurant, Bailey Hongzhuang ordered a pot of tea and looked calmly at Li Rui's, who was rushing over. Li Rui's slowed down and looked at the woman in front of him. His heart was full of doubts. I wonder what kind of business young Master Li wants to discuss with me? Bailey Hongzhuang poured a cup of tea and placed it in front of Li Rui's with a faint smile on her face. After Li Rui's sat down, he looked at the tea in front of him but didn't pick it up. Did you really do what happened last time? Young Master Li, do you think there's such a coincidence in this world? Bailey Hongzhuang chuckled. Since you're already an immortal, if you still have ulcers in your mouth, then Qingjie is not qualified to be an immortal. Li Rui's paused. He knew that the possibility was very small, but looking at the calm man in front of him, he was really puzzled. Then what's your relationship with Elder Lu? Elder Lu? Bailey Hongzhuang was startled, but her face still didn't change. This is my business, it has nothing to do with you. Why don't young Master Li tell me about the business you want to do first? Li Ruiyang couldn't help but feel a little regretful, but he also knew that the other party would definitely not tell him. You made the poison last time? Bailey Hongzhuang smiled. Young Master Li needs poison? Li Ruiyang didn't frown. He wanted to directly find out the other party's relationship with the poison, but he didn't expect the other party to be watertight and not reveal any clues. Thinking about it, since the other party was related to Elder Lu, he probably wasn't a stupid person. It would be very difficult to get other information from here. I also want to do business with you and take Qingjie's life. Name a price. Li Ruiyang looked at Bailey Hongzhuang tentatively. He also wanted to know how capable the other party was. Since they could poison him, then they could poison him. It wouldn't be difficult for them to take his life. Bailey Hongzhuang's smile didn't change, but she declined politely. Young Master Li, Qingjie has some status, and it's not easy to ask for his life. You should be able to tell that I'm only doing this for fun. What can 1,000 blood spirit stones do? I just went to the 10,000 treasures pavilion and got these. The reason why I did that before was because I couldn't stand Qingjie insulting women. Hearing this, Li Ruiyang finally understood. He hadn't understood why the other party wanted 1,000 blood spirit stones if they were so capable. It turned out that they were just messing around. Only then would this matter be justified. However, he felt that it was a pity that the other party was unwilling to make a move and take Qingjie's life. Originally, killing Qingjie would have saved him a lot of trouble so that he wouldn't encounter such a thing in the future. After all, they had done it themselves. Qingjie's big brother wouldn't sit idly by. If young Master Li needs poison, you can tell me. I've always been fair in my dealings, Bailey Hongzhuang said calmly. What kind of cultivator will your poison be effective on? Li Ruiyang was a little surprised. At their level of strength, ordinary poisons wouldn't be very effective. At the very least, it won't be a problem for someone like Qingjie. Li Ruiyang pondered for a moment. Qingjie was a second-rank cultivator. If it was effective on him, it meant that it was quite effective. Chapter 7458. Young Master Li, there's no need to worry. These poisons are quite effective against your current cultivation level. Of course, if you need stronger poisons, as long as you can afford them, I can find them for you. Bailey Hongzhuang's expression was calm, but her words shocked Li Ruiyang. She could find all kinds of poisons. This meant that she must have an extremely powerful poison master behind her. A poison master. A poison master of this quality was enough to strike fear in others. In an instant, Bailey Hongzhuang became a person he couldn't afford to offend in his heart. If he offended her, she would be even more troublesome than Qingjie. If young Master Li doesn't need them, I'll take my leave first. If you need them in the future, feel free to look for me. Bailey Hongzhuang stood up. She wasn't going to say anything else. However, just as she was about to leave, Li Ruiyang said, 10,000 blood spirit stones. Do you have a poison that can kill a second-rank immortal? Bailey Hongzhuang's footsteps paused slightly, and a confident smile appeared on her face. A bottle of poison appeared in her hand. The white liquid swayed in the glass bottle. It was colorless and odorless, just like ordinary water. There wasn't the slightest difference. This poison takes effect very quickly. Even a second-rank immortal wouldn't be able to detect it. After ingesting it, the effects will disappear very quickly. It's very difficult to detect the poison. Li Ruiyang looked at Bailey Hongzhuang in shock. He'd asked this question, but he hadn't expected her to have such a poison on her. He couldn't help but feel a chill in his heart. This meant that if she wanted to kill him with poison, it would be a simple matter. He consciously looked at the cup of tea Bailey Hongzhuang had poured for him. His heart broke out in a cold sweat. Bailey Hongzhuang could tell what Li Ruiyang was thinking. I never poison my friends. Young Master Li, don't worry. In the next second, Bailey Hongzhuang picked up the cup of tea and drained it in one gulp. Li Ruiyang was still a little nervous, but more than that, he was embarrassed. That's not what I meant. Bailey Hongzhuang waved her hand and did not take this matter to heart. If young Master Li needs to take it and the poison takes effect a day later, then we have it. Bailey Hongzhuang took out another bottle of poison and introduced it with a smile. Li Ruiyang looked at the 2 bottles of poison in front of him and felt that Bailey Hongzhuang was more and more unfathomable. When did such a powerful person appear? I'll take both bottles. Li Ruiyang handed the 20,000 blood spirit stones to Bailey Hongzhuang and took the 2 bottles of poison. Young Master, there won't be any problems with the efficacy of the medicine. Young Master Li, you can rest assured. As for me, I have always been tight-lipped. I will abide by these rules when doing business. Li Ruiyang nodded slightly and did not ask any more questions. Thank you very much. I should be the one thanking young Master Li. If the efficacy is good, come find me in the future. After exiting the restaurant, Bailey Hongzhuang and Linger quickly hid in an alley. Hongzhuang, he said that he wanted Qingjie's life. Why didn't you agree? Killing Qingjie shouldn't be difficult. Moreover, with the degree of hatred between the 2 sides, the price would definitely not be low. Although Qingjie isn't a good person, we still have to rely on him to come to the Qing clan. Once he falls, Gong Jun's status will be affected. If we are assigned to other places, then all our preparations will be wasted. Rather than that, we might as well sell him some poison and let him do it himself. That way we'll have less risk. Besides, it won't be easy for him to poison Qingjie. Qingjie has been very cautious recently. He won't be able to find an opportunity. Chapter 74-59. I see. Ling understood. Hongzhuang, you've been very careful recently. There's no other way. There are too many experts in the immortal domain. We're too weak. If we offend any one of them, we might be wiped out. We have to be careful in everything we do. If we make one wrong move, we'll be doomed. Ling nodded slightly. Looking around, there were many 2nd grade and 3rd grade immortals on the streets. As for the 1st grade immortals, they were mostly young masters from the various major factions. Whenever they appeared, they would travel in groups. In comparison, they were far too weak. Noticing the sadness in Linger's eyes, Bailey Hongzhuang smiled. Beichen said that those who have just broken through without power or influence are mostly in the 4 great continents. They will only leave the 4 great continents when they have the strength to stand on their own. Therefore, we don't have to be affected by the current environment. If we go to the 4 great continents, we won't be the weakest. There was a first time for everything. All cultivators cultivated from the weakest to the strongest. They might be able to make a name for themselves in the immortal domain. When are we going to the legacy site? Ling couldn't help but ask. Her memories of what happened back then were a little messy. Recently, some fragments of happiness and pain would occasionally flash through her mind. They were intermittent, but she couldn't help but feel sad. She was almost certain that she must have done something wrong back then. Because of this, she was filled with endless regret. However, she wasn't sure what she had done wrong. Perhaps when she found out, she would blame herself and feel pain. However, this hazy feeling made her feel even more tormented. She should bear the consequences of what she had done. Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes narrowed. She suddenly realized that Linger's sadness might not be because of her strength, but because of the legacy site. She also had some vague guesses about what happened back then. Since we're already in the immortal domain, it won't be long before we go. Bailey Hongzhuang held Linger's hand. Everyone makes mistakes. No matter how painful the truth is, we have to look forward. Linger looked up. Her bright black eyes were like a lake, rippling with layers of ripples. I understand. For safety's sake, the 2 of them changed back into their original clothes and circled the alley a few times. After confirming that no one was following them, they returned to the Qing residence. 25,000 blood spirit stones. This was enough to completely save them from poverty. With these blood spirit stones, they could truly carry out their plan. The outside of the palace was almost turned into a hornet's nest. Bailey Hongzhuang looked at the effect and nodded with satisfaction. Judging from the power and range of the fluctuations, we have basically achieved the effect we wanted. Previously, she had only used a small number of blood spirit stones to test her judgment. Now that she had enough blood spirit stones, she could truly test it out. It's finally done. Shengguan Yingying shook her head and sighed. Using blood spirit stones as explosives. How wasteful. Hongzhuang, is the immortal domain really that rich? Xiren's eyes were filled with anticipation. Don't forget about us. When the time comes, you have to bring us out. He knew how difficult it was to earn high-grade blood spirit stones back then. He didn't expect that they would be able to take them out and play with them now. Chapter 7460. If you break through to the elementary immortal stage as soon as possible, won't you be able to leave openly? Bailey Hongzhuang raised an eyebrow. The cultivation environment in the immortal domain is not bad. It's much better than the immortal domain of chaos. If you guys stay here for too long, it'll be difficult for you to catch up. Xiren waved his hand. Anyway, the gap between Beichen and I has always been there. That guy is too much of a beast. He's so demonic that I've lost my confidence. Let's not talk about Beichen. I'm just afraid that Gong Jun will leave you in the dust. A sly glint flashed across Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes. She knew very well what could strike a chord in Xiren's heart. As expected, she hit the nail on the head. Xiren's expression changed instantly. He said seriously, "Don't worry. Yingying and I have been cultivating very hard recently. We'll be able to break through very soon." Shengguan Yingying secretly gave Bailey Hongzhuang a thumbs up. Hongzhuang was really getting better and better at reading people's minds. That hit was very accurate. It looked like she wouldn't have to whip Xiren to cultivate for a while. We'll head back first. Beichen and the others should be here by now. Don't forget to give us some resources when you rob the resource vault, Xiren hurriedly shouted. Inside the room. When Bailey Hongzhuang and Ling Er came out of the chaos ring, they saw that everyone was already waiting for them. However, Zhongli Mu and Yi Sun were not there. Where did Zhongli go? Zhongli Mu and Yi Sun went out together, Mo Yunjue said. Bailey Hongzhuang raised her eyebrows. She was still a little confused. Mo Yunjue continued, I think what Gong Jun said makes some sense. Even if Yi Sun is going through hardships with us, we can't guarantee that there won't be any accidents. Therefore, it's best not to let others know about these matters of life and death. Gong Jun looked at Mo Yunjue in surprise, then subconsciously looked at Di Beichen. His boss's love rival was really good to his sister-in-law. Even though there was no hope at all, he was still wholeheartedly thinking for his sister-in-law. Bailey Hongzhuang also didn't think too much about this point. Mo Yunjue's words made sense. To be safe, this was good for everyone. Linger and I have already tested the power of the explosives. The effect is achievable. She placed the explosives on the table. There are a total of 5 explosive points. These 5 explosives are ready. Di Beichen picked up the bomb and looked at it. He praised, very fast. Its power isn't bad either, Mo Yunjue said. In addition, I will prepare the knockout powder as soon as possible. Have you chosen the location? Yunju and I chose 2 locations each. According to our inspection over the past few days, we feel that these 4 locations are not bad. They are relatively hidden and most people won't notice them. Once an explosion occurs, everyone will immediately rush over to check it out. As for the most important explosion center, we chose the location near the branch master's residence. That place is the most eye-catching, and the effect will definitely be extraordinary. Di Beichen's lips curved slightly. This location was undoubtedly the most important. He and Yunju had also put in a lot of effort. According to our thinking, it's best to wait until there are guests. Once an explosion occurs, they will definitely want to find out the cause immediately and calm everything down. This way the chances of success will be higher. Mo Yunjue was very confident. This was the only way that the 4th-rank immortal in the resource warehouse would have the highest possibility of leaving. Bailey Hongzhuang nodded slightly. You're right. But are there any guests coming soon? Chapter 7461. As soon as he said that, everyone looked at Gong Jun. Gong Jun was the one who understood this kind of thing the best. Gong Jun thought for a while and said, I heard that a guest will be coming in a few days. As for who the guest is, I don't know. However, I noticed that Qing Jie and the others seem to value this guest very much. Previously, only his 2 confidants mentioned this matter and I just happened to hear about it. As for the specific information, I'm not very clear. It's fine if you don't know. Presumably it's not the day yet. When the day comes there will be rumors. Di Baichen was not in a hurry. Qing Jie was considered a person with a high status in this branch. If an important guest came, Qing Jie would definitely know something. I will find out the news as soon as possible. Gong Jun patted his chest and said, "Leave this small matter to me. Once we've confirmed which day it will be, we'll have to calculate the time and contact the flying magic tool we'll use to leave," Bailey Yanche said. Di Baichen lowered his eyes and said, "In my opinion, it's best that we don't take the flying artifact directly. Otherwise, once we are discovered, we will be doomed." "You mean to leave the city first?" "Yes, there are other cities around Liuxin City. As long as we leave the city, they won't be able to determine which direction we go. Even if Qing family is powerful enough, it won't be easy to find a needle in a haystack." Everyone nodded. This plan was undoubtedly safer, and it would be much more difficult for the other party to find them. "Then I will take advantage of these days to study the route of departure to ensure that there won't be any other problems," Bai Li Yanche said. The time to close the city gate, the route of departure, and how to hide, these questions had to be thought out first. The resource vault was stolen, this was a big matter. Qing family would definitely be furious, and the immortals of the branch might even come out in full force. At that time, it wouldn't just be Tier 1 or Tier 2 immortals looking for them. It might be a group of very powerful immortals. Although it seemed like there were many opportunities for them to escape, it wasn't an easy task. They couldn't afford to make any mistakes. "Then I'll leave this matter to you and Linger. It's best if you go there personally and come up with 3 plans. We'll execute them according to the situation," Di Baichen said. "I understand. By the way, have you thought about which continent we should go to after we leave this place?" Bailey Hongzhuang asked. The 4 great continents were all suitable places for them to go. However, it was not long before they left. It was time for them to think about where to go. Sky Travel Continent. Sky Travel Continent. Bai Li Yanche and Di Baichen answered in unison. Bailey Hongzhuang looked at the two of them in surprise. She didn't expect that the two of them had already discussed this. "Why the Heaven Travel Continent?" Linger asked curiously. "I think the other 3 continents are not bad. Do you have any other reasons?" "There's no reason. I just feel that there's still a grudge that I haven't taken back then." Bai Li Yanche narrowed his eyes. "Since we said that we would take revenge, then we can't miss it. If those guys were in other continents, then so be it. But they're in one of the 4 great continents. Isn't this giving us a chance?" Hearing this, Bailey Hongzhuang and the others immediately understood. Without a doubt, they were talking about the people who had dug them out of the abandoned immortal forest. "It's been so long. I didn't expect you guys to still remember." Linger sighed. End of chapter. Chapter 7462. Of course I remember. Back then, I almost died in the hands of these guys. If I don't take revenge, how can I live up to myself? Bai Li Yanche's eyes flashed with coldness. He still remembered what happened back then very clearly. Xiao Xuanzi was also affected because of this incident. If not for that, Xiao Xuanzi and Xiao Hua would have been together long ago. How would they have wasted so much time? Bailey Hongzhuang and the rest looked at each other. "Since there's such an important reason, let's go to the Sky Travel Continent." Everyone laughed lightly. The Sky Travel Continent was indeed a good place to go. The Sky Travel Continent was relatively close to the abandoned immortal forest. When they went to take revenge, they could even meet the seniors. In the next few days, Bailey Hongzhuang focused on developing the knockout drug. The longer the effect of the knockout drug, the better. Previously, she didn't have the time and immortal spirit herbs, so she didn't have the chance to study it properly. Now that she had the chance, she would give it a try. The immortal domain's alchemist ranking was different from the chaotic immortal domains. Granny Hua felt that she had stayed in the chaotic immortal domain for a long time, so she didn't say much about the immortal domain. Now that she was in the immortal domain, she had to put in some effort in this aspect. There were indeed more blood spirit stones in the immortal domain than in the outside world. However, the price of pills here was much higher. If one didn't have the ability, it would be very difficult to earn enough cultivation resources. What has Gong Jun been busy with recently? There's not even a shadow of him. Bai Li Yanche was a little confused. I thought that this guy's speed of gathering information would be very fast. I didn't expect that there's still no news after so many days. I heard that Qing Jie has been very busy recently. He even went to an auction. Bailey Hongzhuang said. Ever since the incident last time, Qing Jie has been very careful. When he goes out, he brings almost everyone he can. Gong Jun has been following him these days. He didn't even have the chance to come back. I feel that if it wasn't for the enmity with the Qing clan, Gong Jun would have continued to mingle around here. In the future he might really be able to climb up to a pretty good position. Linger laughed lightly. Di Beichen walked to the side and sat down. Qing Jie is indeed very nervous recently. That guest may be more important than we thought, and Qing Jie is related to this matter. Let's wait patiently. After following him for a few days, Gong Jun should have already inquired about this matter. As long as there is a chance, he will inform us immediately. Bailey Hongzhuang nodded slightly. Linger and Yen Che have already confirmed the route. Now there's only one route left. I think we can start the operation once that guest arrives. There's still no news from Qing Devil. I really want to sneak in directly and see if I can get the last secret key. Hearing this, Bailey Hongzhuang was also lost in thought. They were so close to the Qing clan this time. If they couldn't get the secret key back this time, it would take a lot of time for them to find it again. Don't worry too much about it. Qing Devil will definitely threaten us if necessary. Although the news that we went to the 4 great continents is hidden, it shouldn't be too difficult for Qing Devil to find us. At that time we don't need to look for him. He will naturally come to us. Di Beichen said. Bailey Hongzhuang couldn't help but look at Di Beichen. For some reason she felt that Di Beichen didn't care much about the secret key. Chapter 74-63. From the beginning until now, when Beichen mentioned this point, he didn't look too worried. However, she wasn't sure if this was an illusion or not. Maybe Beichen just hoped that everyone wouldn't be too anxious because of this. After waiting for another 3 days, Gong Jun ran to Di Beichen's house at night. He just explained the general situation and then quickly left. Gong Jun said that the other party will come to the branch in 3 days. Qing Jie and the others attach great importance to this matter. The other party is an array master, and his array skills are very good. With him joining, the strength of the branch will be stronger. Previously, Qing Jie participated in the auction in order to have enough chips to attract this array master. He said that the other party should appear at noon. At that time the kitchen will be busy. We have to take advantage of that opportunity to act. Di Beichen explained the situation. The specific location happens to be in the banquet hall. It's very close to the place we chose. When the time comes, I will let Xiao Bai inform Gong Jun and take the opportunity to leave. Hearing this news, Bailey Hongzhuang and the others all breathed a sigh of relief. They had been waiting for this day for a long time. As long as they robbed the resource warehouse, they could leave here safely. Their days in the Qing family seemed to be very peaceful every day, but the pressure in their hearts was not small. Then we will act in 3 days. Now let's confirm if there are any other problems. Di Beichen said in a deep voice. Everyone nodded. In fact, they had already prepared everything. As long as there were no accidents, there wouldn't be any problems. After the operation, there are many times when the plan can't keep up with the changes. We can't guarantee that the situation will be as we think. If the other party's strength is too strong, everyone will sneak away and wait until we reach the Tianxin continent to meet again. Understood. They were quite experienced in this kind of thing. When everyone was about to leave, Bailey Hongzhuang noticed that Di Beichen had taken out a book and was reading it. She couldn't help but take a few steps closer. After reading the contents clearly, she said with some surprise, "This is a formation book?" Di Beichen smiled and nodded. "This is what Gong Jun gave me last night. The level of this book is quite high. The things written on it happen to be what I have been studying recently. Can be said that it will be of great help." He Shinjuan's array formation skills were very high, so he didn't introduce too many basic array formations. He needed Di Beichen to study them one by one. The grade of this array formation book wasn't low, but it was much simpler compared to Black Deity Jun's. With the 2 books combined, it would be much easier for him to understand. Gong Jun follows Qing Jie all day long. I didn't expect that he would be able to find an array formation book. It is really unexpected. Bailey Hongzhuang smiled. Gong Jun is really good to you. He doesn't forget you at all. Di Beichen thought for a moment and said, "He is indeed trustworthy." Sometimes even he felt that Gong Jun's kindness to him was inexplicable. But after thinking about it carefully, he couldn't find any other reason. Perhaps they were destined to be good brothers. Even though this guy followed behind him like a follower all day long and called him boss, he had always treated Gong Jun as a brother. At first he always felt that this guy was a burden, but he didn't expect him to be a good helper. The last time I saw old Lu, he said that your array formation skills are very good. If you work harder in this area, it will be of great help to you in the future. Chapter 74-64. Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes were filled with amazement. Actually, ever since she started learning about array techniques, she realized that Beichen was really talented in this area. At least, her talent in array techniques could not be compared to Beichen's at all. He seemed to be a natural array master. If other people were to read these two array techniques books, wanting to study them thoroughly would definitely not be easy. They might not even be able to understand them at all. But Beichen could. Perhaps this was talent. In the future, Beichen would definitely be a very powerful array master. I think array techniques are very interesting. Beichen's lips unconsciously curled upwards. I always feel that my brain already knows a lot of content. But once I start learning, it's as if my memory is recovering. Some of the complicated patterns become simpler. Recovering? Bailey Hongzhuang raised her eyebrows. I'm just making an analogy. Since you're talented in this area, you'll naturally improve by leaps and bounds. At the same time, Qingjie's courtyard had turned into a pot of porridge. What the hell is going on? The array technique book was clearly still here last night. Why did it disappear today? Qingjie roared in exasperation. Hurry up and find it for me. A bunch of useless things. You can't even read a book. Gong Jun and the rest were very anxious when they heard that the array technique book had disappeared. They all rushed over. Young Master Jie, we've been keeping watch in the courtyard all this time. No one else came. The bargaining chip that we used to attract the other party this time was this array technique book. In order to bid for this array technique book, we paid a hefty price. If we can't find the array technique book, then the other party won't accept our invitation. Then everything will be over. Qingjie's expression was extremely unsightly. Such an important task had fallen on his shoulders. As long as he could complete this task well, then he would have made a contribution. However, if he failed, then the punishment he would receive would be. Thinking of this, Qingjie could only feel cold sweat forming on his back. No way. He absolutely could not let such a thing happen. Last night he had been reading the book on formations. Because the value of the book was too high, he couldn't help but be curious after he returned from the auction. He opened the book and read it, wanting to know what was written in it that could be sold at such a high price. It was a pity that even though he had some understanding of formations, the content written here was simply too complicated. He couldn't understand it at all. At that time he didn't know what happened, but he actually fell asleep just like that. When he opened his eyes again, the formation book had disappeared without a trace. Young Master Jie, may I know where you placed the formation book yesterday? Qingjie's confidants were also very anxious. Yesterday they clearly looked after the courtyard and made sure that no one had come. Moreover, the book was placed in Qingjie's chaos ring. Once someone touched the ring, Qingjie would be the first to discover it. From the looks of it, this matter did not make sense at all. Hearing this question, Qingjie's expression was a little awkward. If everyone knew that he had been drugged, then wouldn't that be a joke? At this moment, Gong Jun couldn't help but say, Young Master Jie, for the other party to be able to make a move here, there must be a mole. Seeing that Gong Jun had changed the topic and avoided this question, Qingjie heaved a sigh of relief and said, That's right, there must be a mole. Investigate properly. Seeing this, the two confidants were also very conflicted. There aren't many people in the courtyard, but there aren't few either. From what I see, it's best not to make a big fuss about this matter, in case the other party takes advantage of the chaos and leaves. Chapter 74-65. Qingjie naturally understood the importance of the matter. You guys investigate carefully. You must not leak any information. This was such a big matter. If he could retrieve the formation book before the other party arrived, then everything could be treated as if nothing had happened. Otherwise, he was afraid that he would be done for immediately. We can find a random excuse. We can say that a thief broke in and Madame's necklace was lost. Then we can check everyone's storage rings. I'm sure no one will think of anything else. Gong Jun suggested. Qingjie looked at Gong Jun with satisfaction. This fellow was indeed clever. He did things in an organized manner. Have you heard? Young Master Jie's courtyard was robbed. Madame lost a necklace. You believe that? The way I see it, it's definitely not a necklace. Who is young Master Jie? It's just a necklace. It's not enough for him to make such a big fuss. I heard that everyone in the courtyard has been checked, but young Master Jia is still in a rage. It seems that the situation is quite serious. There was no such thing as an airtight wall in the world. No matter how well Qing Jia and company hid, with such a big commotion they were eventually noticed. Because they had checked everyone in the courtyard, but in the end they still did not find the formation book. There's only one day left. If we still can't find it, then tomorrow? Qing Jia's face was pale. He had no way of thinking about the situation. He could not bear the consequences. Gong Jun hasn't returned these few days. I think the situation at Qing Jia's place is quite serious. But I don't know what was lost. Why is he making such a big fuss? Bailey Hongzhuang was puzzled. It must be something extremely important. If it wasn't, then Qing Jia would not even look for it. For Qing Jia to value it so much, it must be very valuable. I'm really curious. Linger smiled. I heard that Qing Jia seems to have lost a formation book. He went to the auction a while ago to bid for this book. But the other party is quite capable. To be able to steal it from under Qing Jia's nose. Qing Jia naturally would not say anything. That would be a great humiliation. Mo Yunjue said. Hearing this, Bailey Hongzhuang and Di Beichen were stunned. They looked at each other stiffly and finally, their gazes landed on the formation book in Di Beichen's hands. Don't tell me, it's this one? As soon as these words were spoken, the expressions of everyone in the room changed. This book? Gong Jun gave this formation book to me when he came back 2 days ago. I don't know where he got it from. Di Beichen said. Everyone's expression became very strange. Without a doubt, the thing that Qing Jia had been looking for was right in front of them. Gong Jun is really bold. He stole something that Qing Jia values so much. He won't be found out, right? Linger said worriedly. There were only so many people in the entire courtyard. If Gong Jun was found out, then it would be dangerous. Gong Jun is really taking too much of a risk this time. Bailey Hongzhuang also had a lingering fear in her heart. She had already drugged him once before, and Qing Jia's vigilance was much higher than before. Now she was using the same trick again. Once they were discovered, it would be over. It shouldn't be a problem. Di Beichen narrowed his eyes. His eyes that were as deep as the sea also showed some worry. Since Qing Jia hasn't found him for so long, it means that Gong Jun has hidden very well and hasn't been noticed. Chapter 74-66. We can leave tomorrow. Although it's a little risky, it's not a bad idea. Mo Yunjue smiled faintly. This formation book must be very valuable. Di Beichen looked at the book in his hand. He had already read it, so he naturally knew how valuable the contents were. It was no wonder that Qing Jia valued it so much. Gong Jun really did something big this time. Bai Li Yanche sighed. He's really something. Everyone knew that Gong Jun must have seen Di Beichen's talent in formations, so he couldn't help but take the risk after seeing the formation book. Based on Gong Jun's personality, he had always cherished his life, so it was really not easy for him to do this. Qing Jia really let the wolf into the house. I wonder what kind of expression he'll have tomorrow when he finds out that we were the ones behind everything? Ling couldn't help but ask. Everyone looked at each other. Thinking about it, it would probably be a very sour feeling. At night, Qing Jia sat dejectedly on a chair. It was already so late, so there was probably no hope left. After such a long time, the other party had probably hidden the item well. Young Master Jia, since this person is a traitor, we should think carefully. Last time you were poisoned and this time someone drugged you. I think these two people are very likely to be the same person. Qing Ting analyzed the situation seriously. Qing Man nodded. This kind of thing has never happened before. It's only started happening recently. Shouldn't we start from this aspect and take a look at the newcomers recently? Hearing this, Qing Jia frowned slightly. There haven't been many newcomers in the courtyard recently. But you're right. Nothing has ever happened before, but recently things have been happening one after another. We really have to think carefully about what went wrong. Young Master, we have to find this traitor as soon as possible. Other than this incident this time, we don't know if other things will happen in the future. As long as we don't solve this problem, this crisis could appear at any time, and we won't be able to eat or sleep in peace. Qing Ting's expression was filled with worry. It seems that only 2 people have come to the courtyard recently. One of them was introduced by you. Why don't you go investigate and see if they have contacted anyone else recently, especially the Li family? See if they have any contact with the Li family. Qing Jia's gaze was sinister. He was almost certain that the Li family had something to do with his sore mouth last time. However, he didn't expect the Li clan to have the ability to plant someone by his side. Yes, Shushi will investigate immediately. Qing Man's expression was slightly unsightly. One of them was recommended by her, but she was sure that this person absolutely had no ill intentions. Young master, other than the two newcomers in the courtyard, there is actually one more person, Qing Ting reminded him. Who else? Qing Jie raised his eyebrows and asked. Gong Jun. Qing Jie raised his head and looked at Qing Ting. His brows were tightly knitted together. Do you feel dissatisfied because I've been promoting Gong Jun very much recently? I wouldn't dare. Qing Ting hurriedly expressed his stance. However, the newcomer Gong Jun is also one of them. I feel that this inspection can't be missed. However, Qing Jie didn't care. How can Gong Jun be so capable? Moreover, he just came from another continent and has no contact with the Li family at all. Chapter 74-67. Every time there was a conflict with the Li family, Gong Jun would take the responsibility. On the other hand, Qing Ting and Qing Man had always stood behind him without saying anything. He did not believe that Gong Jun would make a move on him. Moreover, Gong Jun had always been dutiful. Without his summons, Gong Jun would never step into his house. Most importantly, with Gong Jun's cultivation, he really did not have much of a deterrent force. Among the people who followed him, the weakest was a rank 1. Only Gong Jun had not broken through to rank 1 yet. If Gong Jun had the ability to do so, then everyone in the courtyard would be useless. Qing Ting and Qing Man saw that Qing Jie did not have the slightest bit of suspicion towards Gong Jun. They felt a little helpless in their hearts. They did not know what kind of drug Gong Jun had used to make Qing Jie trust him so much. In the past, Qing Jie had always trusted the two of them the most. However, ever since Gong Jun came, their positions had been replaced. Now, when they talked about Gong Jun, it seemed like they were deliberately targeting him. The next day, Qing Jie went to see the branch head, Qing Heng, and resigned himself to telling him the whole story. Now that things had come to this, it was already impossible to cover it up. Instead of waiting for people to come and talk about it, it was better to say it first. Otherwise, Qing Heng's anger would be even more unbearable. What did you say? Qing Heng's voice was stern. Say it again. Qing Jie lowered his head, his expression full of guilt. Sir, it's all my fault. I didn't do a good job. Slap. Qing Heng slapped Qing Jie and sent him flying. The latter rolled on the ground. There was blood between his lips, but he did not dare to show any dissatisfaction. Sir, I didn't do a good job. I'm willing to be punished. Qing Heng's expression was extremely malicious. You should know how important it is for us to recruit a formation master. Once we fail to recruit one and this formation master goes to another force, the impact on us will be doubled. It took a lot of effort for us to invite a 4th grade array master. The other branches were all envious of him, but now that this matter is out, we will all become a joke. Qing Jie knelt on the ground, trembling. There's definitely a conspiracy behind this. Maybe it was done by other forces or even other branches. So what? Qing Heng threw the teacup onto the ground. Is there any use in saying this now? As long as we can't recruit them, what's the point of finding out who did it? My lord, although the formation book is gone this time, it doesn't mean that he won't keep it. We can offer him great benefits. Maybe he will change his mind. A Tier 4 formation master can be said to be an honored guest in any power. Without any tangible benefits, do you think the other party will believe you just because you talk? Qing Jie was silent. He also understood that the persuasiveness of his words was a little too low. However, this was already their only hope. At this moment, Bailey Hongzhuang, Bai Li Yanche and Ling Er were pacing back and forth near the resource warehouse. Looking at the sky, it was about time for them to meet. Once the explosion started, it would be time for them to take action. I hope that everything will go smoothly today. Linger's palms were already sweating. Their actions were tantamount to snatching food from the tiger's mouth. It was impossible for her not to be nervous. Don't worry, we have already prepared everything. Nothing will happen, Bai Li Yanche said. Ling Er nodded slightly. Now was the calm before the storm. Later, the entire Qing family would be like an ignited bomb. She only hoped that it would not affect them. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.